There we are. Man, I messed it up with the intro again. What the heck, bro? It's crazy. I was trying to share it on my Facebook page and it just kind of like messed up when I did that. So, anyways, welcome everybody to Just Visiting. This is Just Visiting with J and E. Let me introduce you to my partner, Old Scratch Johnson, and I am Methuselah Honeysuckle, also known as Eric. So, I had to throw that in there for those people who know what that means. Hopefully you get the reference. But anyways, this is just a live stream discussion, long form podcast or YouTube video, if you will, where we kind of talk about all different kinds of things, talk about different topics, and we're just visiting on each and every one of them. So we don't spend too much time on each until sometimes we'll get into a little rant where we start, talking a little bit more than we're used to, but it's fun. So feel free to join the comments below. We are on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're also live on Twitch as well. So all three of those places you can find us at Just Visiting WJE is our tag. So at Just Visiting WJE. So today, Jonathan, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. Did you like my partner thing that I just did? I thought that was fun. I don't know.
I guess.
Dang. Anyways.
I don't know.
Man, I haven't watched that show in such a long time. I need to get back into it. I'm not going to say what it is because I would prefer people find out on their own.
Yeah.
But anyways, how was your trip this weekend? You just had a little trip.
Yeah, it was good. I went back home, saw some friends, some family. It was great. It was a great reminder of my roots, and obviously. South Carolina, I'm South Kakalakian until I die.
What? Do you guys actually say that?
No.
Okay.
No.
I mean, because
I'm hilarious though.
I'm originally from Michigan, and they call everyone Michiganders.
That's so weird to me.
I mean, I don't really know where it comes from, other than it has Michigan in the name. So I don't know. You had me. But anyways, we'll get started into topics real fast for you guys. But hope everyone is doing well. If you're watching, feel free to comment below and just say hi and join in the conversation. We love to know your thoughts. So, but we'll go ahead and get started. Our first topic of the day. We always like to start, I feel like, with a little. At least this has been the trend, with a little bit of superhero news and stuff, because Jonathan and I are both very much interested in that. But there's not actually a lot of news in general going on these last 2 weeks.
Slow news week.
Yes, very slow. So today, we're talking about the first thing that I wanted to talk about was Batman: The Audio Adventures. So I'm basically going to read this article really fast that I found. And so, guys, for you that don't know, and for Jonathan, so Batman: The Audio Adventures is I heard about it this past week, like a couple days ago, and I thought it was the weirdest sounding thing. It was very interesting for people who I guess are into it, but it's basically an audio format for a Batman story, and they have a lot of celebrities who are voicing different characters. It's specifically on HBO Max. I also saw on YouTube you can watch like the first 2 episodes, but it's on HBO Max specifically. And what it is it's literally like an old school radio format of a Batman story. So, I don't know if Jonathan, have you ever listened to like the old like radio murder mysteries, or do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I mean, I listen to I obviously I listen to audiobooks and stuff like that, but yeah. I've never listened to nothing. Oh wait. There's some Christian thing that I used to listen to when I was a kid.
Adventures in Odyssey?
Yeah.
Adventures in Odyssey. I loved Adventures in Odyssey, man. Oh my gosh. Those are still around.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. Well, it's crazy. Good on you guys.
I know. It's insane. You guys? What do you mean by you guys?
I'm not talking to you specifically.
How dare
it's the royal you. I'm talking about those guys.
I'm white. No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, yeah. So it's similar to that. It'd be like Adventures in Odyssey, but I've seen people do podcast forms of stories and stuff. And so basically, I'm just gonna read a little bit about it because I thought it was kind of interesting. I thought it was weird that a streaming service was who was doing it. That's actually what I found.
So I mean, it's going to be on HBO?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. So this is from comicbook.com. And it says they released the first 2 episodes of Batman: The Audio Adventures. I think this was on the 18th is when they released this. So just like 3 days ago. And so it's been a little while since series announced, and fans are excited to see what the podcast will be like. But it's a podcast specifically for HBO Max, so that's what I think is weird. Um, and it says that basically Jeffrey Wright is Batman, which if you don't know who Jeffrey Wright is, guys, he's the guy he voices the Watcher right now in the What If series, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And he's also from the Hunger Games. He was in specifically, I remember him in Catching Fire. He's also in the other ones as well, but he's like the inventor. And then I forget what else he's in. He's also going to
be. He's also in Westworld.
He's in Westworld. That's right. I've only seen like 2 episodes of Westworld, so I forgot that he was in that. But he's also going to be Commissioner Gordon in the new The Batman movie. It's called The Batman, so I have to emphasize the
like the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, and then Rosario Dawson is playing Catwoman, which I think in general she would be a good Catwoman, and I know her obviously from the Batman, or not Batman, from the Daredevil show. That
Night
was
Nurse.
one of my. What's that? Yeah, the Night Nurse. She played the Night Nurse, and I loved her in that role. It says it says a lot of fans. Oh, and then John Leguizamo is also doing the Riddler, which I don't know if Jonathan knows who he is, but essentially I know him from he was in Chef. He was in the movie Chef, and he plays Jon Favreau's like one of his helpers. But also,
guy.
Yeah, most people know him from playing Sid the Sloth in Ice Age. Like, if you have no idea who John Leguizamo is, he's the guy who plays Sid the Sloth, but he talks without having a lisp. But if you've seen him in anything, he's a pretty good actor. I think he'll do good as the Riddler. But both that and the Spotify podcast series come later, represent a real investment in the medium of DC and Warner Brothers. And here's the logo for it.
He's gonna be the Riddler?
Yeah, he's gonna be the Riddler. Did you just look him up?
Yeah. I looked at his face and I remember him. But I don't remember him in anything. Any primary roles for him, like any like where he was the main person. But
yeah,
he's been good in a lot of like supporting roles.
He's in a lot of indie movies, like independent films. I've seen him a lot in smaller films. And then I was going to show this real fast. So basically, guys, I've already went over what it is, but it looks like it's supposed to bring back kind of like a noir type of feel to the characters. So it's like a murder mystery, but Batman sort of. And it's supposed to be like a little bit from the 1960s Batman TV series, I guess. So it sounds like a cool idea. And when I was telling Jonathan, I mean, I just don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know. I was telling Jonathan earlier that one thing I do like about animated stuff, like voice acting, and what I like about stuff like this is like literally anybody can embody the character. So like Jeffrey Wright, he has a great voice. If you've heard any of his stuff, however, he's a short, not really muscular guy. So like him playing Batman in real life could never happen, but him playing Batman in like through his voice could obviously happen. So I think that's kind of cool. It gives us different takes on the characters. But the last thing I wanted to show about it, because Jonathan and I saw this just a second ago. Look at the cast that's in this. Here, I'm going to share it real quick. I thought it was just like them, and when I was Googling it earlier, this is who Google says is in it. So Jason Sudeikis is in it. Rosario Dawson, Alan Tudyk, which I've seen him in a couple stuff. Jonathan, I don't know if you remember, but we watched that. We were the only like 2 people who watched that show, Powerless. You remember? And he was in it. He was the like CEO.
We were there. We were their entire demographic, though. So they accomplished it.
Yeah, definitely. Seth Meyers is going to be in it, and Fred Armisen, which I haven't seen anything he's
King
from.
What?
King. It's Scimitar. Scimitar. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was crazy. I was like, that's a crazy cast. Kenan Thompson's. He's going to be it. Tim Meadows is going to be in it. There's a lot of SNL people.
Baron Holtz.
Yeah, I forget what I've seen him in.
The Mindy Project. He does make a couple things, but he typically plays the same person.
Yeah, the same type of. Yeah, I've seen him in something else too.
I'm trying to. So this is what I'm thinking through is like when I'm looking at these actors, I'm like, I'm trying to think through how their voice is going to come across in that character, and especially the type of acting they typically do.
Mm-hmm.
So I get Jeffrey Wright because he's a more serious type of actor. He's usually in more serious roles. So I can understand him being Batman. I'm going to be interested to see how his voice sounds as the Caped Crusader, but because he has a terrific voice. I love his voice. I just don't know if it fits Batman for sure. So we'll see. But I'm not sure how John Leguizamo is going to sound as the Riddler.
Yeah,
I'm concerned about.
I know his voice pretty well just from what I've seen him in, so I think he's going to do good. But I mean, it is like, it's hard to picture it without like actually watching a movie. Like whatever I do is I'll like watch a movie and close my eyes and like picture their voice. And so like I could kind of see him doing it, but I think he'll actually do a good job. It is very different though for the character. But do you think you'll watch it or listen to it? Or...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if it's just audio, absolutely. I as most of you guys should already know, I drive DoorDash and Uber Eats, so that would definitely be something I would want to do. Because I listen to a lot of audiobooks while I'm driving. So
I was thinking I might. I don't know. Sometimes because I've never really been interested in like podcast storytelling. I haven't like ever listened to it that way, but I do listen to a lot of audiobooks, things like that. So I might check it out. But yeah, very, very different. I thought it was weird that HBO Max was putting it out. And it looks like Spotify is too. So I'm guessing if you have Spotify Premium, you can watch it as well. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. Thought we'd bring it up, but anyways, we'll move on to our next topic, and then we're going to talk about the What If show. So to give a little bit of background for the people watching, What If is essentially an anthology series on Disney Plus that you can watch. It's by Marvel, and each episode is different. And essentially what it is it's just a different episode from an alternate universe in the Marvel universe, specifically the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it pulls from the movies and creates, if you watched all of the movies, it makes more sense. But if you watched it by itself and had never seen a Marvel thing, you'd probably be really confused. But if you've watched all the movies, you can watch each individual episode and see how a storyline would have played out differently, and how that universe is different. So it's kind of interesting. Jonathan has watched up until the most recent episode, which is the zombies episode. He has not watched that. So for people who are watching along with us on that, I've watched all of them. I think the only one I haven't seen, well, actually, the latest episode isn't the zombie one. There's one that came out recently, like last Wednesday, that came out, and it was okay. But anyways, I want to get Jonathan's take because I haven't heard much from you about it. I've kind of talked to you, but you never told me what you thought. So what do you think of the series so far?
I mean, I like it. It's so I've read a couple of What If comics, and they're usually pretty good. It's a little unfortunate that you don't get to see some of the storylines kind of play themselves out a little bit longer than just the one-shot comic that you get. But for the most part, they've usually been very entertaining. The animated shorts. So I didn't really like the first one with Peggy Carter with Captain America because it didn't seem that extreme of a thought bubble. I mean, there is obviously the issue they're trying to tackle of Captain America being a woman and being from Great Britain. So there's that, but there's already a Captain Britain in the Marvel universe. So this is not really much of a stretch for me. And plus, to me, it was like, I already knew what she would do because she was already a trained British agent. She would do almost the exact same thing that Steve did. So, I mean, we got a little twist with him becoming Iron Man and all that kind of stuff, but for the most part, it was the same. So I didn't really get it didn't help with the what if, I guess, question. But I think my favorite episode so far was, where are the episodes there? Okay, well, they don't have the name on them. I think it was the Doctor Strange one. Yes. Yeah. Doctor Strange one was definitely my favorite so far.
I wanted to know your thoughts on the Doctor Strange one specifically because I thought that one was amazing. I thought it was like, that's where I was like, oh, dang. Which, to be honest, they pulled on a lot of I think what makes the show really interesting is they actually pull on a lot more adult type of content, adult themes, whereas, the movies, they don't do it as much because they're trying to sell toys and they have kids watching as well. It's Disney, so they're like, we got to be kind of safe.
Yeah, and then the Chinese want to watch it too, so you got to get past their radars as well.
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things where it's a little bit more difficult. Like, I was surprised in honestly, the episode that surprised me was the second episode, which was I think it was like, what if the Avengers didn't happen or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's where, like, they literally, that was the Star-Lord Black Panther one was the second one. Sorry. The third one was what if the Avengers didn't happen? That one surprised me because it was kind of gory. Like, they showed the Hulk explode.
Yeah,
they showed him literally explode. Now, it wasn't as graphic as it could have been, but it was, from Marvel, it was pretty graphic. I was like, oh my gosh. And there was just, and then, to be honest, Jonathan, the zombies one is probably the most gory one. And I was very surprised. We can't talk about it because Jonathan hasn't seen it yet.
No spoilers.
But yeah, but what's crazy is that one was really gory. Like, for Marvel, it was very gory. I was very surprised. They did come on, it's not like a Rob Zombie movie. They can go super hardcore with it, obviously, but what did you think of the second episode, the Star-Lord Black Panther one?
I liked it. I mean, there are some little issues I had, and I kind of just told myself to ignore it because it was like, it wasn't so too significant, but like Thanos becoming a good guy because he had a conversation with Star-Lord, with Black Panther, was just hilarious. That was just so stupid to me. I was like, that's no. And then he was still like convinced that it was a good idea. Like, what?
Well, I watched a podcast where they talked with the producer and the director for that episode, and they said one important reason is that Star-Lord talked to him when he was young. Like, he got to him when he was younger, when he hadn't had this huge vision. Because if he would have gotten to him when he was older and talked to him, that wouldn't have made sense. So for me, that was enough. I was like, that's fair. Like, he's a young guy, and you're talking to him when he's impressionable, versus when he's like older and he's like, I must have the Infinity Stones. I liked the Star-Lord Black Panther one quite a bit. I really enjoyed it. I did think it was an entire slap in the face to Chris Pratt's Star-Lord. I was like, oh my gosh, they're just crapping on this man.
They're like, you suck. You could have saved the whole universe, but
they're like, the world is perfect. Like, the world's literally, like, the universe is perfect because Black Panther is Star-Lord. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then you find out at the end, Chris Pratt is like working at a Dairy Queen or something. And I just thought that was hilarious. Like, I don't know. I just thought it was so fun. I was like, you got to give him some credit. You got to give Star-Lord some credit, like Chris Pratt a little bit, but I don't know.
It was okay. I mean, like I said, I thought it was okay. I thought it was definitely better than Peggy Carter, but I didn't think it was, it didn't, to me at least, as far as imagination and creativity, I didn't feel like it was to the level of Doctor Strange. It just kind of felt like a nice short. It is a nice short. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like over the hill about it.
Yeah, it was fun. My wife actually didn't like that one that much. She thought it was kind of like meh. Yeah. She didn't like that Nebula was a blonde. She thought that was weird. That actually didn't bother me. Like, I was like, I think she looks pretty. Like, she's fine. I did not like the first Peggy Carter one. I was so bored. Like,
it was so much action. I will say I love the animation. It was so much action in it, and it all was like entertaining. The action at least was entertaining for me.
I was just so bored in that one. I was like, I think it's, and I heard someone say this. We kind of, to be honest, like, Captain America was not my favorite Marvel movie. Like, it's okay. It's probably one of my least favorite Marvel movies. I mean, it's not like Thor: The Dark World. It's not a bad movie. It's just not, for me personally, it's okay. Like, I don't know. I think it's because the action in that one is very limited compared to the other Marvel movies. Like, there's a lot of story in the first like half of that movie.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how this one felt. I felt like I kind of knew what was going on. I also thought some of the voice acting was really horrible in that one. To be honest, like, who's the guy who plays Bucky Barnes? Who plays the Winter Soldier? Anyways, I can't remember his name at the moment, but I thought he did a horrible job in that one. I also thought the dialogue was really bad. Like,
okay, yeah. I agree with that because now that I remember it, it all sounded very chewed and robotic. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, the voice actor was bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Sebastian Stan. Yeah, it was. Thank you, Jordan, for pointing that out. Jordan's in the chat, by the way, so shout out to him for commenting. If you comment, you get a shout out. That's usually how it goes. So I'm not going to point out everyone, but you get a shout out. But yeah, I mean, I thought his voice acting was pretty bad. I thought the dialogue in general in that was kind of meh. But anyways, I don't know. But that one was okay. My favorite one has to be probably either the zombies one or the Doctor Strange one. The Doctor Strange one, I thought the Doctor Strange one was the part that got me was when he's like literally absorbing all the energy from all those evil beings.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? That was really intense for me. But there's something that I'm curious. I don't know if this has any ramification on the entire MCU, but there's in some of the episodes of What If and in Shang-Chi, people are pointing out that there is a monster that keeps popping up in all of these shows. And I think it even popped up. I want to say it popped up in Loki as well, but we don't know. But we're always seeing tentacles in these episodes. So in the first one, Agent or Captain Carter, she gets pulled through a portal by a monster with tentacles, right?
Yeah.
Then in Doctor Strange, he absorbs a monster at the end that has tentacles. Then in Shang-Chi, the actual big monster has tentacles and looks really similar to the one that we saw in What If. So it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just a little side thing, but people
I just assumed Hydra. Whenever I see a tentacle monster, I'm always just assuming Hydra. Something to do with the Hydra monster or whatever.
I don't know. There was another What If episode, I think, that also there was tentacles in it too. I don't remember. But yeah, I mean, people have been pointing that out, and I've been kind of like, I don't know if something's going to happen because of that, but it is a very weird coincidence.
I don't know. I mean, I just assumed, like I said, I just assumed Hydra. I didn't think too far into it, but that is the entire series. I feel like I kind of felt like they could have took more creative. Well, I mean, it's Marvel and Disney, so they're not really big on risk taking, but they could have taken more creative, risky questions of what ifs. I mean, I didn't really like the one where all the Avengers died. What if the Avengers died? I didn't really like that one at all. Almost.
Why not?
I don't know. I just thought it was stupid that he would, like, I know he loved his daughter a lot, but that he would go around and just start killing people didn't seem very plausible to me. And maybe they should have like just kind of explained his motivation more or given me a better reason to believe that. But I was like, that seems so, like, knowing him as a character, that seems so impossible that he would do that. And now if it was, what if he started killing people? Maybe. I don't know.
So what you're saying is they should have built up why he was killing them more.
Yeah, it was just like his daughter died in a covert mission, and that was it. It wasn't like someone like literally was like the reason she died. I don't know.
I think, well, to agree with you to a certain extent, I think some of these episodes need to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
I think that's like a couple of them. The one that I think did it the best was the Doctor Strange one. That one, like, everything was explained fine. They did a good job. I felt a couple of the episodes have felt really rushed because they're like, oh, we only have 30 minutes, so we have to like hurry up and get through this. And it's kind of leaves a lot to be desired.
Agreed. Except for the first one felt way too long.
I agree. Well, I don't know why it was like that, but it did feel that way. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I would say overall, I'm really enjoying the show. Yeah. I personally am. Are you enjoying it, or are you kind of? Because I know you're not really a fan of What If.
No, I am. I just wish there were more like riskier what ifs, Or
Yeah.
like the Doctor Strange one, the reason why I liked it so much was because it felt like they actually took a chance on something big and it may not have worked. But it
Yeah.
really did work really well because we hadn't seen Marvel ever be willing to do something like that. I mean, beyond just a snap, the snap and everyone dies, but you think everyone's going to come back at some point. So you're not really super scared about it. But they allowed the villain to like completely get what he wanted and then show the consequences of it. And no one saved it. It was just like, this is it. This is over.
Yeah.
So that to me was great. Maybe I'm a nihilist.
I mean, I don't know. I think I could see them taking more risks, and I would say if you watch the other, they're leaving. If you watch the next episodes, when you do, you'll start to feel like they're leaving them open-ended for a reason. So I don't want to give anything away for you, but like, I would say the next 2 episodes, it just kind of ends, and it makes you feel like they're going to continue it in maybe the season, because they've already confirmed a second season of this, so we're getting another season, which is great because like they get to go. Hopefully, they'll go deeper, and it won't be as surface level as you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes, but I can't really give you the details on the zombies one or anything, but if you watch it, it ends kind of abruptly, and you're kind of like, well, what's going to happen next? And they kind of leave it. It's almost like the second episode. You know how the second episode, it kind of ended abruptly by saying, well, Chris Pratt is going to destroy the universe, essentially, with his dad. Remember, because his dad like sees him, and it kind of ends it on that note, but an even more like ominous what's going to happen type of thing. So you might like that. Hopefully they'll bring it around. We'll see what happens in the second season. But I've been enjoying it so far. I just wanted to know your thoughts on it because I haven't really talked to you a whole lot. But I think we agree. I think most people agree the Doctor Strange episode's been the best so far. It's actually, I feel like that one was the most relatable too, because like losing someone you love, what extent would you go to them for? Like I was sitting with my wife and I was like, it's like, I don't really blame him. Like, I feel like I might do that if I had, like, because they show that scene where he's like sitting there literally with like the time stone in his hand, and you're kind of like I instantly thought, would I do that if my wife died? Would I try to go back in time and save her? And I was like, why wouldn't you? If you've already messed with time enough, kind of like he had, like, why wouldn't you go back in time? Like, it worked fine this time. Like, let's just go back and save her and do something else, Anyways.
It was very Shang-Chi-ish, where like you're so sympathetic to the villain. It's like, I'm not sure you're actually a villain in this story anymore.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for like comic book movie news. Like that's pretty much it. I mean, we just don't have a lot this week to talk about as far as that goes.
Did you hear about the Batman world?
The Batman world?
So they're like doing a new Batman series. I meant to talk to you about this earlier, but they're doing a new Batman series.
Is it a cartoon?
No. It's a comic book, I think.
Oh, okay.
And basically, they're getting artists and writers from every different part of the world to write a Batman. I think a Batman comic, maybe.
I did hear about that. He's going to be in different parts of the world too in the comic, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that the thing? Like he's leaving Gotham.
Global.
Yeah. I did hear about that. That does sound interesting. Are you? When's the first issue come out? Do you know?
No idea. No idea.
I kind of heard about that. I noticed they were emphasizing the world part a lot, and I was like, what is that about? So that's they're having different. They're actually having different like people come on.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's dope. I think I would enjoy that because one thing. Did you ever watch Batman Ninja?
No, the animated movie.
It's anime. It's like an anime style for Batman. I never watched that, but I like really appreciated the style. I was like, that sounds kind of cool. Like they would do an anime version of Batman, and it looked good. I never watched it personally, but like it sounded like cool. I was like, that's neat.
Yeah.
So I would be interested to see different styles.
I guess we have to ask: does the word canon still exist within our universes, or did we kind of like bury that word and just like whatever happens just happens. It's not really. It can be connected, or it could possibly just not be connected anymore.
Well, you saw that they're doing like a thing that's supposed to revise all the crises, right?
Oh my gosh, another reboot or
so like there's a comic book line that's going on right now. You know how like if anybody knows very much about comics, they usually have storylines for individual characters, and then they have a main storyline that has to do with the timeline for all the characters. So it's usually like a Justice League book or something like that, right? Where they have a main story that's like touching all the other stories. You can kind of think of it like the movies, but it's much more complicated and elaborate than the movies. The movies make it seem a lot more simplified.
Yeah.
But it's essentially like that, where they will have a main storyline, and then they'll have, like Nightwing will have his own comic book line, Batman will have his own comic book story, Superman will have his own comic book story, but they all come together in this main like Justice League line. Well, they have one going on right now, and it ended with I can't remember the name of the line right now, but basically the multiverse is like no more. And so they have the worlds are all actual planets that they can go to. So like they can go to Earth 2. Like they can actually travel to Earth 2. Okay. Like they don't have to like do some weird like Barry doesn't have to run on the cosmic treadmill to get to Earth 2. Like he can actually go to Earth 2. And so what you're seeing is they set up a watchtower where they have like President Superman, I forget, they have Thomas Wayne Batman from Earth 2. They have a couple others. They're all from different universes, and they're working together to stop a threat. And so the threat they said at the end of the series, there's not supposed to be any more retcons for DC. like everything's supposed to be finally like in one universe. And I don't know how that's going to work, because whenever I read a comic that has to do with time, I'm super confused.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like, I don't understand what happened. They're like, it can't be together now because of all these science reasons. And I'm like, but why? Like, I don't get it. But I forget what it's called. If I find out what it is, I'll bring it up again later. But I don't remember. But you hadn't heard of that?
No, I have not. That sounds very suspicious to me, that we're never going to get another retcon. That's like...
Well, because they're known for it, right? I mean, Marvel is too.
Absolutely.
Both of them are.
Absolutely. But I mean, DC. It's like the little kid who, like, he did something his parents told him not to do, and so he tries to fix it by making it a bigger mess.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just like, that's what DC does. Is they make a mess and they go, oh, we'll fix it all by like rebooting everything, and then it's like. Then they start realizing that people had like actual attachment to these characters that they've just like really messed up. And so they bring those characters back into the new rebooted universe to fix it again. And then it's like this even bigger mess. And then they go, well, we'll just reboot it again. We'll reboot it again. This time we'll get it right. And they haven't ever got it right. So I'm skeptical that we're never going to get another reboot, because this is just the way things have always been. So...
Yeah, I mean, this was a while ago when I heard about this, and they just finished the storyline, and they're going into like another storyline that connects to it. So I don't know. I'm also the worst person to ask about comics, because Jonathan reads more comics than I do. I just am like on top of the news a little bit in the storylines. So I watch like YouTube videos about it. I have a hard time sitting and reading. Like that's one of my, so like I like reading. I just like, I always think of other things I could be doing. That's why like audiobooks are so great for me, because I love listening to audiobooks. But yeah, it's crazy. So
I just asked about the canon thing because we're having different artists and different storytellers, which is awesome to me, because I would love to see, because we have a very Americanized version of Batman. What do people think in like Portugal about Batman? What do people think in Spain or in Germany or India? How do they view Batman that we've created? Yeah. Because it's going to be a different way, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited about that, but I'm just like, now I'm considering, is this all still going to be canon, or are we just like, is canon no longer a thing? We just kind of just do whatever we want to now.
It might be its own little story. That's kind of what it sounds like, but I don't know. I think, like to go off your point, like one thing I thought was interesting about the Batman Ninja, which is based off of a storyline, a comic book, is in that they view Batman as a samurai. And so I find that like you're saying, I find that interesting that like Japanese culture would show him as a samurai. So I'd be interested to see like how India sees him and other things like that. You're right. That would be really cool. So.
And I hope it's just not like the generic, and I don't mean to put this on the writers, but like I hope it's not like a generic Americanized view of the rest of the world. Yeah. Like, what do we think about Japanese? We think they're all samurai. So if we get a Batman who's a samurai, it's like, yeah, that makes sense because they're all samurai. I just don't want that. I want like something like that's actually culturally relevant to them in this time period. It doesn't have to be like, let's go back to their most.
So like you don't want to see Cossack Batman from like Superman Red Sun, like for when he's from Russia, he's a Russian Cossack, and he's like.
I actually haven't seen Red Sun yet, and I haven't read the comic book either. But
I only know a little bit about the characters.
No, I just want a more. I just don't want a surface level.
You want a more modern.
A more modern and accurately told. I mean, we're going to get from the actual writers. Hopefully, that they'll be able to. Hopefully, DC and Warner Brothers will be able to kind of pull their hands back and let them actually do what they want to do with the characters.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, I think we're going to move on from here, unless you have anything else. I mean, we might bring something up later, possibly, but we'll see. All right. Well, now it is time for Eric's picks. So if you were here last week, are you doing the Price is Right music? Do you watch the Price is Right?
Apropos. No, I don't watch it currently.
Man, I remember when I'd be home from school because I'm sick or something, and I felt like such an old person because the Price is Right comes on at like 10:30 in the morning. So I'd be like watching the Price is Right, and I was like, "Let's go, Bob!" Bob Mark is on there. And anyways, it's just hilarious. But yeah, last week, if you guys were here, you know that I made some. Jonathan asked me. Well, Jonathan, you go ahead and tell it.
Yeah. So last week it was. Last week we started what we call Eric's Picks. We might end up changing the name, not sure yet. But last week we started a segment where basically I run down the matchups for the week, and then Eric just kind of gives what he thinks which team is going to win. And we do this because Eric really doesn't have a lot of knowledge of football. He stopped watching football a long time ago, probably back when Megatron was still in the league.
When he left. When Calvin Johnson left, I kind of stopped watching.
He kind of left with Calvin Johnson. Yeah. So since Eric doesn't know a lot about football, I just kind of asked him who he thinks is going to win, and he's basically going off his historic knowledge of the league because
and not recent information.
Because I was rewatching the clip. Generally speaking, teams that were bad like 10 years ago are kind of still bad today. I mean, like maybe not the Browns, but like the Jets are still the Jets. Like hasn't really changed much since then. So,
butt fumble.
Yeah, but he made his picks last week, and I recorded them, and we actually had a good record.
What?
10-6 really? Last week.
Oh, 10-6. Okay.
Yeah. Good job.
Okay.
Good job. I was very impressed. That's very impressive. I don't think your average NFL fan could have went 10-6. So
really,
that's good. That's good.
Okay. Okay? So let me know I want to see the wins and the losses.
Yeah. So you pick Washington versus Giants. You pick Washington, and the football team actually did win. It was a close game, I think. Let me look at the score real quick. It was a close game.
Here, I'll see if I can pull up. Maybe I can pull up the ESPN scores.
Got you.
Or do you want to pull them up? If you want to pull up the scores,
I got them right here.
You can share them.
Okay.
If you guys want to know a little inside baseball real fast, my camera is super janky on my computer, so it's weird if I type. Because my camera is on the bottom of my computer screen, not the top, which you would think the top, right? Like that makes more sense. No, my brand decided to put it at the bottom. So when I go to type, you see my fingers. So that's why Jonathan's pulling them up real fast.
All right, here we go. What is this? Move. Get out of here.
It's an ad. Ah.
Okay, I got my ad blocker on.
Oh, okay.
Me paused it at least once. All right. So Washington versus the Giants.
You mind if we go full screen for the people so they can see it?
Yeah. Am I not full screen? Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me go. Let me see if that. Wow, that didn't help at all. What the heck? Oh well.
Oh well. Is it still really small?
Yeah, it's a little small. If you can zoom in a little bit, that'd be great. Okay, there we go.
Better?
That's a little bit better. All right, so.
All right. Yeah, there we go. Where's the first game? Washington football team. I got that.
Did the Lions win? Oh, they didn't. The freaking Packers won. Of course. I knew I should. Oh well. It's fine. The football team.
Hold on. This isn't. Okay. Yeah, so the Washington football team lost to the Giants.
Okay.
And I think it was close. I can't seem to find the score, though. I saw the Washington football team, but that says the Cardinals. And I don't know why it says Cardinals. Oh, wait, did I have the wrong one? Whatever. Let's just move on. Okay. Next, we had the Raiders versus the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
And you picked the Raiders. And the Raiders actually won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the
Okay. So this is the wrong season. That's what it is. This is the wrong season. I was like, what is happening? I know I picked the right one. This is the 2020 season.
We're losing viewers. No.
Yes. Okay. Of course I was looking for the 2020 season. Why? What? Why? Why would I be looking for the 2020 season? Okay. Anyway, here we go. Okay. This makes a lot more sense to me. All of this looks right. Okay. All right.
Just kidding. I don't care.
Raiders, Steelers. There we go. 26-17.
Okay.
All right. Next we got the 49ers versus Eagles.
The Patriots destroyed the Jets.
Yeah. And you picked the Patriots. So that's the good news.
Okay. That is good.
49ers versus Eagles. They lost in a close one. The Eagles had a lot of penalties that took away touchdowns and stuff like that. So that was a close one for them. They almost lost that one.
Did I pick the 49ers in that?
Yeah, you picked you picked the Eagles. So that was a loss, yes.
Okay.
Texans versus Browns. You picked the Browns.
Browns win?
Yep, Browns win.
Yeah, let's go.
Aren't currently starting their starting quarterback right now. So that's probably a large part of the reason they won.
Why?
And then their backup got injured. He had a hamstring. He pulled his hamstring in the game. So they're playing with their third string quarterback in that game. But the Browns did win, so that's the win for you.
There we go.
Next, we got Broncos versus Jags, 23-13. Broncos win.
Did I pick the Broncos? I picked
the Jaguars.
Yeah,
you picked the Jaguars. Next, we have the Saints versus the Panthers. And for some odd reason, you picked the Saints. I am so sorry. They got destroyed by my Panthers. Absolutely crushed.
Oh,
they scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter. That's how long it took them to score.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yeah, Jameis Winston turned into Jameis Winston.
That's like man. It's like they let them score in the fourth quarter. It's like we gotta let them have something on the board.
It's so funny because you'll hear these Saints fans who are like, Jameis Winston is the next coming of Drew Brees. It's like he's gonna turn our franchise around. It's like he was the leader in his interceptions for 2-3 years running. He had 18 in 1 year. Do you know how hard it is to get 18 interceptions in a single year?
That's crazy. Well, I think it's because they're good in college and they just assume that they're going to translate well to the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've thought that before. I've thought man, this guy's so good in college, he'd be great in the NFL. And I'm not an analyst, so I have a hard time figuring out why certain quarterbacks tank.
But no, see, this is the thing though. We don't even have to go off his college experience. He played for the Buccaneers for 8 years or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he played for the Buccaneers. Then the Saints got him. He sat under Drew Brees for one season, and then Drew Brees retired. And then Jameis Winston started posting all these offseason videos of him working on his throwing motion, him working on his presence in the pocket, and then he has one good game against the Packers where he like throws for like 4 or 5 touchdowns, but he only threw the ball like 20 times, I think, in that game. And so Saints fans were like, "Oh my gosh, Jameis Winston is the next Peyton Manning. We're gonna win the championship."
Did he do good at the Buccaneers?
No, that's the team he threw all those interceptions on.
Ugh.
They never. I think they might have made the playoffs once, maybe once. If I might be wrong though, they probably never made the playoffs, honestly, with him as quarterback. But the number of interceptions he threw was just like bonkers. Every single year he was throwing interceptions because he's kind of a panicky quarterback, just to be honest with you. Like he gets into trouble, he panics, and he kind of just throws it up. And that's what happened in this game. Was like he kept getting sacked, and so he was just like, "I gotta make a play," and he just threw it up and then picked. So he threw 2 picks that game. And Panthers are 2-0, undefeated. Anyway, moving on. Rams versus Colts.
Wait, who's the Panthers quarterback?
Sam Darnold.
Oh, I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he used to play for the Jets.
He's a white guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I could just tell by his name.
Sam
Darnold. Sam Darnold.
Yeah, he had a good game. He threw a pick, which was kind of weird. It was a weird pick thrown. But he had a really, really good game. He threw for 300 yards. But anyway, we got the Rams versus the Colts. You chose the Rams, which was a really good pick.
Vikings Cardinals. I got that one right, didn't I?
I think you picked the Cardinals.
I thought I did. That was a close game.
Yeah, Cardinals. Yeah, you picked the Cardinals.
That was a close game.
Cardinals. That was a shootout. They were scoring so many points in that game. It was crazy. It had one of my opponents in my fantasy league had the Cardinals defense. Scored 33 points. It was great. I barely won that game, by the way. Titans, Seahawks. You picked the Seahawks. The Titans actually came out on top. Derrick Henry, 3 rushing touchdowns that game and a $182.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Did you have him in your fantasy league?
Unfortunately, no. Well, someone in my league has him, but it's not me. That would have been great. It was like 40 points, man. 40 points for just one player.
That's insane.
I know.
That's crazy.
I
haven't played fantasy in a while. I kind of want to play fantasy again. That was fun. I would always forget about it. And and then it would automatically put up my roster, and I do good like the first 2 weeks, and then after that I would start sucking. I just like go down because I would forget about it.
Bingles and Bears. You picked the Bears.
The Bears won?
Bears. Yeah, you picked the Bears. Bears won. Bears won. Close one.
Nice.
Won by 3.
Okay. Well, I guess I did decent then. I mean,
yeah.
I did decent.
Last one was Chiefs and Ravens. And you picked Patty Mahomes, and he let you down.
What?
Yeah, he threw an interception late in the game, and then also they had a fumble. The Chiefs had a fumble in the fourth quarter, which led to the Ravens winning it.
That's mortalism, Patrick. Come on, Patrick. You know that video, right?
No, I do not.
You don't? You don't know that? You don't know that? It's about the Trinity, and it's about St. Patrick and how he used the 3-leaf clover as like a way to describe the Trinity, and that's actually a bad way to describe the Trinity.
yeah.
And so it's these two guys that just like make fun of him, and he's like, "Well, what if the Trinity's like this?" And he's like, "That's mortalism, Patrick. Come on, Patrick, you're better than that, Pat." And it's like 2 leprechauns like yelling at him about it's hilarious. I'll have to play it sometime.
Anyway, let's go through these picks for week 3. So, but you're 10-6. That's really good, man. That's really good. See if we can keep up our winning ways.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not like. Hopefully I'm always on the upside, right? We'll see.
All right, first game is Thursday. We got Panthers versus Texans.
Panthers versus the Texans. I'm gonna take the Panthers in that.
Panthers. That's a good decision. Texans are down to their 3rd string quarterback, so this is not going to be a good game for them.
Their 2nd string got hurt.
Yeah, he pulled his hamstring. So,
dang.
It seems like they're going to be using their 3rd string.
Okay.
Chargers versus Chiefs.
Let's go with the Chiefs.
You gonna trust your boy Patty Mahomes again?
He's got to come through. He's got to come through again. He went to the Super Bowl last year. Come on.
All right. Next, we got Cardinals versus the Jags.
Blah. Let's go with the Jags won this week, right?
Let me check.
They won, right? I thought that's
No, they lost. They lost to the Bronx.
Oh, what was the score?
Score was close. Score was. Or actually, I don't think it was close. Actually, I think it might have been a blowout. Let me check. Oh yeah, no, 23-13. It wasn't that big of a difference. 23-13.
Then let's go with what was it? It was Jags and who else?
Cardinals.
What's the Cardinals' record? Sorry.
All right, you're getting a lot of help here. You're getting
I
a lot
don't
of
know
help
if I'm
here.
allowed to ask these questions. There's no rules.
There's no rules. All right, I'll tell you this one time. Cardinals' record is 2-0, undefeated.
All right, let's go with the Cardinals. Let's go with the
Cardinals. Okay,
yeah.
It's a good pick. Bears versus Browns.
Let's go with the Brown. Or you said Bears versus Browns?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I was thinking Broncos. That's weird. Let's go with the Browns.
Okay, why we want the Browns? I
have some faith in them. I don't know why. There's not really a reason. I just think I think this season they're going to surprise people because they have that new quarterback. So
okay.
we'll see.
They don't have a new quarterback though.
They don't.
No.
I thought they had. Well, they have the guy.
He's been there for a couple years.
Oh well. Let's go with the Browns. It's a gut feeling. Okay.
All right. We got the football team versus the Bills.
The football team. So stupid. I feel like they did that like literally to spite people. They're like, fine, if we can't be called the Redskins, we're gonna make you say some garbage name. The football team. Let's go with the football team again.
Football team.
Yeah. See if they can do 2 wins in a row.
All right, Colts versus Titans.
Oh, let's go with the Colts.
Colts.
Yep.
All right, Saints versus Patriots.
Patriots.
Ooh, why Patriots?
I mean, the Saints just got stomped.
True, but don't forget, not 2 weeks ago they stomped Green Bay. So
yeah, but Green Bay, from what I've heard, is very unpredictable this year. You know, I feel like they're going to be playing good games and bad games. I don't think that's really a justified.
That's fair. That's fair. I think they did stomp the Lions. So
what? Green Bay?
Yeah.
They didn't stomp them. Did they?
Just look at the score.
I thought the score was
35.
That's not a stomp.
They lost by 18. What's a stomp to you then? Well, what's a stomp to you? If it's not 18 points, what is a stomp to you?
When one team is in single digits.
Okay. All right. So, but you're going with the Patriots, is what you said.
Yeah.
All right. Falcons versus Giants.
Let's go with the Falcons.
Falcons.
Giants haven't been that great in a while.
All right. Bengals versus Steelers.
Oh, I know nothing about the Bengals. We'll go with the Steelers.
Steelers.
They're historically solid. You know, like they're like if I had to bet on a team that I knew nothing about, but I knew they were bad in the past, versus a team that I know is usually always has a winning season, like versus a team that I just randomly picked, I'd pick the Steelers because they almost always have a winning season, right? They're not like complete garbage all the time.
Ravens versus Lions.
Ravens versus Lions. Let's go Lions. Let's go with the Lions.
Oh my gosh. Are you going to do this every week that you're going to pick your own team to win?
No, I won't.
That's what's going to get you the most losses is you keep picking the Lions.
I actually don't know anything about the Ravens. I know nothing about them.
Okay.
So all I know is that the Lions have to have at least a win. So.
Well,
One
just
of
to let
these,
you know,
one of
last
these weeks I'll
week
be right.
you picked the Chiefs over the Ravens, and the Ravens won. In a close one.
Let's
It's
go
okay.
Lions.
It's okay. You can go.
Let's go
You can
Lions.
go Lions.
Let's go
You can go.
Lions, man.
All right, Jets versus Broncos.
Who was the first team?
Jets versus the Broncos.
Jets. Oh, Broncos.
Broncos. Ooh, that was a quick answer. Any reason why?
It's the Jets.
Dolphins versus Raiders.
It's the Jets, man. Raiders.
Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Buccaneers versus Rams.
Let's go with the Bucks.
Bucks. All right. Seahawks versus Vikings.
Ooh. Man, I don't know anything about Seattle. I really don't know anything about them. Let's go with the. Let's. What was the second team? Seattle versus who?
The Vikings.
Why are you laughing at me?
It's just funny trying to see you make a decision based on like zero information. It's just like you're like it's kind of like you're just like looking at the words in your head and you can't make a decision. Like Seahawks, Vikings. Seahawks has more letters in it. Seahawks are more dangerous creatures.
If I was a Viking,
kind of extinct.
If I was a Viking, could I beat a Seahawk? I don't know. But a Seahawk is so like noble. Like let's go with the Vikings.
Vikings, okay. Packers versus 49ers.
Ooh, okay, that's a fun matchup, right? Isn't that a fun one?
Yeah, it should be.
Let's go with the Packers.
Packers, going with the bad man.
You see that meme that's going around about him?
No, but his hair looks so weird now.
He looks like he's on drugs. Like, his hair is slicked back. Like
yeah. It's really long now.
He had 5 o'clock shadow, and he was wearing like a zip up hoodie. But then his eyes looked like dead tired. So, and I about died when I saw. I was like, "That's hilarious!" Like, I don't know. He just looked super old. Anyways, okay. What was the next matchup?
Eagles versus Cowboys. This is the last one for this week.
Let's go with them Cowboys. I'm not.
How about them boys?
Let's go with them Cowboys. Did the Cowboys win? I never
won
heard.
Last week. Yeah.
Is that who I picked?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Let's see if
the Cowboys are like
picking the Cowboys.
The Cowboys are like the Green Bay Packers. Like recently, anyways, they're just like you never know what you're gonna get with them.
Yeah. It's basically like rolling the dice.
Yeah, they are. But the thing is, when they're good, they're good. When they're good, they're good. But when they're bad, they're awful. Green Bay historically is not like that. Green Bay's normally like they're pretty solid.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That's true. Is
that all of them?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Week 3's in the books. We need
an outro for that, like, and then like we go to the next thing. But awesome. Okay, well, we will be back next week to see how I do. It's funny because this has actually made me want to watch football. I've wanted to see, but I don't have a TV provider anymore. I canceled my AT&T TV, so I can't watch like any of the games. And you know what? I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. You know what is really crappy is ESPN Plus. That's just it's pointless. It's pointless because you think ESPN Plus. If I said, "Hey, do you want ESPN Plus?" you would think, "Oh, I'm assuming I'm getting all the ESPN channels and the content that's on them." No, Jonathan, that's not what you get. You don't get anything. You don't get Monday Night Football. You don't get ESPN or ESPN2. You get these little shows that aren't good enough to be on the main ESPN channel. So you get Stephen A's World, which nobody watches. You get Sports Nation, which I used to love, but I don't even know who the hosts are anymore, so I don't watch the show. And then you get all these documentaries, which, again, are good, but they're not good enough to be on the main channel.
Yeah.
So it's so ridiculous. And then guess what? You get exclusive UFC content, but you have to pay for it again. Like they're like, you get a discounted price of like $69. And I'm like, I'm already paying for the streaming service. Like, what's the point? Anyways. It's crazy. I don't know. I was texting my cousin the other day and he was like, how come I can't watch this game? And it was a baseball game and he was using my ESPN Plus account. And I was like, well, I guess technically like ESPN doesn't have the rights to every game that's on there to distribute to ESPN Plus. And I was like, that's really stupid. You know, like that's because that's what you get ESPN Plus for. Anyways, it's fine. It's whatever. It's just dumb.
Well, man, everyone's coming up with a streaming service now, so why not ESPN have your own, you know?
Yeah, but theirs is like really horrible. Like the only reason I have it is because I get it for free with Disney.
Yeah.
Like that's the only
anyone has it. I don't think there's anyone who was like, dang, you know what I was really missing? A Serena Williams documentary. Where can I find that content at?
Oh man.
I'm not saying she's a bad player or anything like that. I'm just saying like it's like some things like there's a bunch of super obscure things on ESPN Plus that no one I'm sure has watched, like has really given time to. So I just don't understand why they even have it in the first place if you don't get to watch any games.
It would make more sense if they were like, you got all of ESPN's content. Like that obviously someone would buy. I mean, I don't know anybody who wouldn't spend $13 a month on that. If they were like, oh, I can get all the ESPN channels, like, yeah, I'll just buy that for $13. But no, it's not that at all. Like, so I go on ESPN Plus to find something I want to watch, and I'm like, there's nothing there. Like there's a couple 30 for 30s that I'm interested in. Like there's one about Bruce Lee that I've been wanting to watch, but besides that, that's it. Like I can't think of anything.
Watch The Last Dance again.
The last again. I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about watching it again, but
I haven't finished it yet. Actually,
you haven't.
I keep telling myself I'm gonna go back and watch it. I just haven't ever put any time until I actually sit down to watch it.
That's a good series.
Yeah, I got close to finishing it. I think I was on like episode 6 or something like that.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I loved it. I kept like the first 2 episodes were good, but then once I started getting more into it, I was like, I can't wait for the next episode to watch. But yeah, that was really good. Anyways, well, all right, we're done with Eric's picks for right now, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. So Jonathan, this is a category you wanted to talk about, and it's specifically about the argument of the GOAT, who is the greatest player of all time, specifically in the NBA. You want to give a little bit of backstory to how you picked this up?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always watching a lot of NBA content, obviously, because I love basketball. Basketball is my favorite sport by far. It's not even close. I think football is very entertaining to watch. I think soccer can be entertaining at times. Mm-hmm. And UFC and all other stuff. All other stuff is pretty cool and entertaining. College basketball is okay. But my favorite all time is going to be NBA content. It's always going to be that. And with NBA content, obviously comes a lot of NBA analysts. And with so many talking heads, you're going to have those people who just don't know, who don't seem to know what they're talking about. And they give really, really bad takes. And so what I want to do is I want to create like a segment on our channel where sometimes we just go through some of these really, really bad, awful takes on things. And so today we're going to be discussing the GOAT conversation. And it's a very personal thing, honestly. It is. It's very personal to who you actually like as a team. Because like, you know, if your favorite team is the Pistons, you probably won't pick Jordan as your GOAT because you played against him for so many years. You just hate him or whatever, like you're Isaiah Thomas and he didn't pick you on the dream team. I get it. You don't like him. I get it. It could be based on your favorite player. If your favorite player is Kobe Bryant, if you say he's a GOAT, I'd be very, very confused. But I can understand it's a very personal subject. But I think objectively, there are just certain arguments that people have put forth that I think are just really bad takes. They're really bad takes to figure out who is going to be the GOAT. Now, the reason specifically why we're not talking about we're not having the debate right now is because I'm sure me and Eric pretty much agree, right? Jordan's the GOAT. Yeah. And it's not even close.
Yeah.
So that's why we're not really having the debate right now. But
Don't know how entertaining that is for everybody. For us to just agree. So.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I agree. But I want to talk about
maybe one day we'll have that argument.
Yeah. I could do like devil's advocate because I've heard enough of the LeBron team side. It's not very good arguments, but they're decent enough to consider. But I want to specifically talk about just the bad takes that I've heard regarding the Jordan argument. On both sides. This is just both sides. This is not just exclusively for the people who are in LeBron's camp. This is for both sides. Number one, saying that because Jordan has 6 rings, that automatically makes him the GOAT is a really bad take. If you're saying that, stop, please. You're devaluing the argument that we're making here.
Why? Why is that such a bad? No, I want to know like why.
Yeah, because
well, I guess because of context.
Yeah, context, but also championships aren't everything. Bill Russell has 11. So if we're talking about just championships exclusively, then you can't say he's the GOAT. Robert Horry has 7. So like this brings up way too many problems when trying to discuss the GOAT because you have a lot of players who were pretty good, but were just on a really, really good team and happen to find themselves in advantageous situations. Like, there was a backup player for the Warriors who had won like 3 championships because he had stayed on the Warriors bench, never played a game, but he just stayed on their bench and he won 2 championships with them. And I think he got traded to another team and I think he won a championship with them too.
Well, do you think it's bad to point that out in general, or do you think it's in need of more evidence? Like, can I say that and back it up with other things? Or
I'll say you can use that as part of your argument, but that cannot be the source of your argument. You can't say,
yeah,
Jordan's the GOAT because he only because he has 6
and that's
rings.
it. And the story.
It. Yeah, that's
you
story.
Can't say that. Yeah, I agree.
And I say that because I hear so many straw men created from that argument. Like people be like, oh, well, people just say it's all about championships and well, because like if you say like, well, LeBron is, he had his finals record is very bad. It's in the he's lost more finals than he's won. They'll go, oh well, it's not just about winning, because if it is, then Robert Horry is the GOAT. And it's like, no, we're not saying that. So if anyone's saying that, stop saying that. Stop saying that Jordan's the GOAT exclusively because of the 6 rings.
But don't you think championships are necessary?
Yes. No, that's my next point. Championships do matter. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying championships don't matter. I'm saying they do matter. I'm just saying you can't base your entire argument off of just that. That alone is not enough to make him the GOAT. I don't think it is for anyone. I don't think 11 championships will make Bill Russell the GOAT. I don't think 7 makes Robert Horry.
But having a lack of championships, doesn't make you the GOAT.
Yes, it's neither nor. But I'm saying what I will say is having the championships adds to your credibility to becoming the GOAT, which is why a player like Allen Iverson would never be the GOAT in my book. Now, to you, he could be the best basketball player you've ever seen. That's fine. But he could never be the greatest basketball player of all time in NBA history. That's just not possible because he doesn't have championships.
It's kind of like that with Charles
Barkley as well.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, I forgot what's his name. He was a point guard for the Sacramento Kings back in the day.
Mike Bibby?
No, his name was White Chocolate. That was his nickname.
I was talking about what's his name?
I can't remember his name. He's a living highlight reel.
Yeah.
But obviously he's never won any like it'd be hard to say he's even the greatest point guard of all time, but obviously someone might be able to say, oh, I think he's the best because of his handles and because of his highlights. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but like you can't on that argument alone.
Yeah, Jason Williams.
Yeah, that's it. Well, and I think your point is too, like you have to have, if you're talking about the greatest of all time, you can't have a one-dimensional argument.
Yeah.
You can't be like, well, for instance, the reason I brought up Jason Williams is if you looked at his highlights, he looks like he should be the greatest point guard of all time because his passing is amazing. Was he a point guard or a small forward?
Point guard.
Okay, I thought he was. The reason I said it is because he always seemed like he was in control of the play. But you can't, like, just based off that, you can't say he's the greatest, like, because I don't believe he has any championships. I don't think, anyways. I could be wrong on that.
No, he doesn't.
But just based on that alone, like there's so many other things he didn't achieve when he was playing the game of basketball. Whereas I feel like we both agree Michael Jordan has probably achieved the most.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hijack your conversation, so go ahead and go.
No. That's a good point. And I just want to solidify this one point, right? So my point isn't that championships don't matter. My point isn't that championships matter the most. I'm saying there's an in between here that we can get to where championships do mean something, but they don't mean nothing, and they don't mean everything. So anyone who's saying championships are everything, you're crazy, because basketball is a team sport, and it's so much. And this is what me and Eric were actually talking about before the stream. So much of it is dependent upon luck. Like someone gets hurt, like your main player gets hurt in the middle of the playoff run. It's like, well, you're just out of luck that season. And then maybe in the offseason, you tear down your whole team, and then you have to rebuild all over again. So it's so much to do with luck just to get there. So that's why we can't put so much onus on championships. And also there have been there's some weird people who have a weird number of championships for some reason, because that's just the way NBA
the White
works.
Mamba, Brian Scalabrina.
Yeah, Brian Scalabrina has a championship. And I wouldn't say he's better than I wouldn't say he's better than like Karl Malone, or I wouldn't say he's better than Charles Barkley, or I wouldn't say he's better than Carmelo Anthony, So I think that's a really bad thing I've heard from Jordan proponents who talk. Next one I want to talk about is the longevity argument for LeBron people. The people who say, "Oh, well, LeBron played 18 plus years." Oh, sorry. Yeah. Actually, before we get there, let's go to the finals appearances. The finals appearances is a terrible argument, and I absolutely hate it. I hate people who bring it up. I don't hate you. I just hate the argument so much, because it's like saying, well, as long as I got there, that's enough. And it's like, no, we're talking about winning. It's about winning. If you don't win, it's good that you got there, but it's not about getting there. It's about winning the whole thing. And they never want to talk about context around how he got there. For the 10-year stretch that he marched to the finals every year just to lose to the Warriors again, he played against like the worst Eastern Conference we've had in almost NBA history. It was always very weak, and I credit him because his play style forced other teams.
He's talking about LeBron, by the way.
Yes. LeBron's play style forced other teams to really scramble their rosters every season to try to beat LeBron. It wasn't about beating, each other. It was more just about, let's make sure we got enough talent to beat LeBron. And that always played into the detriment of other teams, because you really can't play that way. You have to play basketball, not beat LeBron game, and I think that's how the most successful teams who've played against LeBron, the Warriors and the Spurs, have always just played really good basketball. That's how you beat him. You play really good basketball. But the argument that just because LeBron has been to the finals 10 times, that makes him GOAT worthy is an insane argument, because, again, it's not about just getting there. There's lots of players who've gotten there and who have never won a championship. We would not consider them among the greats because they didn't win. And so the fact that LeBron has lost the finals 5, 6, 7 times is a huge indictment on his resume. It's a huge indictment. Like, if I told you someone lost 7 times the biggest fight of their life, but we want to consider them one of the greatest fighters of all time, you would laugh at me. Like, if we're talking about Muhammad Ali and he lost every big fight he had except for like 3 of them, we would be like, no way he's the greatest of all time. Or if we're talking about, let me pick someone most people don't like. If we're talking about Conor McGregor, right? Most UFC fans aren't really appreciative of him. But if we're talking about somebody like Conor McGregor or Mayweather, if we're talking about Mayweather, and Mayweather lost every big fight he had, but won a bunch of little fights, no one would ever consider him even close to being the GOAT. Even now, it's still in dispute, even though he's never lost a fight in his entire career. So it's like the fact that we would say LeBron James is the GOAT, or even add that as a plus to his resume, that he went to the finals 7, 10 times, whatever, and lost, is absolutely insane to me. It's like, what? How does that matter? Why does that matter?
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. I mean, how many did Michael Jordan go to that he lost?
None. He's 6-0 in the finals.
That's true in the finals. He didn't go to the finals until he got some of the other pieces in his play style. That's right. He went to the playoffs multiple times.
Yeah.
in general. Well, do you think the playoffs is different than the finals?
Yes. I mean, because you're going, especially if you're like a 1 seed going against an 8 seed, you're going against lesser competition. So I can't really. I mean, I think overall, in like when LeBron finally retired and we get to really kind of get a perspective view of like a broader view of his whole career and look at like playoff losses, playoff wins, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, since he's always been on one of the better teams, especially more recently since 2011, he's always been on the better teams, especially in the East. He's always going to usually have a better record, and he's been playing for longer than most people, so he's going to have more wins than most people have. So I don't really count the playoffs, at least to me. I'm not saying like I don't count them at all. I'm just saying they're not really that high as far as priority of things that we're going to count when we're talking about greats of all time.
Yeah. Well, and I think the interesting thing about LeBron is he's had stages in his career that you can see where he's changed his play style up.
Yeah.
You know, and that shows how he's grown as a player, which is interesting. And I think that'll be fun to look at LeBron when he's all said and done. Yeah. However, I mean, there's lots of players who could have played longer.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not. And so I think the benefit, what you're saying essentially is that the benefit of him playing longer is that he's obviously going to have more wins. He's going to, even if he had 3 crappy seasons, you know, like maybe they were like positive, maybe they were good seasons where he's, you know, where he's got a winning season, but you know, he's like an 8th seed or a 7th seed.
Yeah.
You know, he's still going to be gathering those wins each year.
Yeah.
Which, you know, Michael Jordan could have done the same thing. He decided not to, and then he came back. And the bad thing about, I think, quitting is probably mentality. You know, like you don't have that winning mentality anymore. And so that's probably why when he came back, he did such a bad job. But anyways.
Yeah, I just think that, and that's where that actually segues perfectly into the longevity argument that most people make is that, oh, well, look at career stats, look at career points. LeBron has already passed Michael. Look at career assists, look at career steals, look at career rebounds, look at career whatever. I think this argument is so overblown. Now, I want everyone to understand. I'm not saying you can't use any of these in your arguments. I'm saying if you're going to use them, you have to add context to your argument. So the reason why LeBron got to go to the finals every year is because the Eastern Conference was not that good. It just wasn't. Like it's objectively wasn't that good.
It was horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you had people around that time saying if he would have been in the West, it would have been much harder. And when he did go to the West, it was harder for him. I mean, his first, how many years was he at the Lakers before he actually went to the finals?
The first year they didn't go to the finals, but every year since then they've been going to the finals. Last year they almost didn't go to the finals, but a very lucky shot, proved otherwise. So anyway, going back to the longevity argument, looking at career stats is a fine way to make a good comparison of players, but it's not a fine way to make a case solely for the GOAT, because when you play for so many years, you're going to get more stats than other people. I think the better way to look at that stat is to look at how many years did it take you to get there, right? Because Michael only played, how many seasons did he play? I want to say 10 or maybe 11 seasons, while LeBron's up to 18 now. And he just passed Michael in points, I think a season or 2 ago. So if we're looking at this in context, we will say, okay, well, LeBron's not a better scorer than Michael. Even though he's played longer, he still wasn't a better scorer because Michael got there in a shorter amount of seasons than LeBron did. It took LeBron 17, 18 seasons to get there, while it only took Michael, 10, 11. So I think a lot of people just look at that and they go, oh, well, he has more points than him, so clearly he wins in that GOAT conversation. And it's like, no, there's context you have to surround it with. And I think that's the overall theme of the Michael versus LeBron debate, is that you have to add context. Hold on 1 second.
No problem. What do you think about the one-on-one argument?
Hold on 1 second. Give me a second. I got this real quick.
No, you're fine. You're good, man. Sorry, guys. Give us just a second. We're still working out some of the kinks of our timing and everything whenever we're live streaming, because obviously we have lives. So we're a little bit, sometimes we got to let someone in or something like that. Jonathan and I both live in apartments too. So it's a little bit more limited space than we'd like. So, but guys, let us know, seriously, if you're rewatching this or if you're watching it live, let us know in the comments what types of content you like, what type of categories you enjoy, because we'd love to know a little bit more about what you like to hear and what you like to listen to, so that way we can obviously accommodate appropriately. So we'd like to hear more about that. We love talking about, obviously it's going to be stuff that we like to talk about at the end of the day, but hey, why don't you spend a little bit more time talking about basketball? Why don't you spend a little bit more time talking about, sports? Why don't you talk, a little bit more time about gaming? Today we're not really talking about any gaming news. I think we got one thing we're going to talk about, but besides that, yeah. So, just let us know what you are into, what you like to listen to, and we'll be happy to look into that a little bit more and see how we can, give you guys content you enjoy watching. So.
Sorry about that, everyone. I accidentally locked my wife out of the house. So I had to go rescue her.
That's hilarious. That's fun. I was telling them to let us know, in the comments about if they're enjoying the conversation, everything like that. So, and what they would like to see more of, what content they'd like to see more of.
Absolutely.
Because we can always talk more about basketball or gaming or whatever they want to talk about. So.
Yeah. The basketball conversation may not be for everybody, but I would love for us to be able to have a genuine conversation about LeBron in a context that's going to give him the best chance to be the GOAT, obviously, but also that's going to be a fair account of what actually happened while he was in the league and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think about, so what I was asking before you left, because you were talking about this, and I started to think there's lots of people who compare the GOAT to a one-on-one perspective.
Yeah.
So say, oh, well, one-on-one, LeBron would destroy Jordan. He'd destroy him all day. So what do you think about that? Like,
First of all, I would pay money to see that. I would definitely,
I think
if you want to do a charity for, put 45, 48-year-old Michael Jordan against, or 50-year-old Michael Jordan against LeBron right now. That would get so much charity money. That'd be great. I don't think LeBron would ever do it, but I don't know
if Jordan would ever do it.
Really?
I don't know if he would.
I don't know, man. Give Jordan a chance to finally set the record straight of who's the better basketball player. Even at 55, I feel like
I don't think he'd do it.
I'd be very surprised if he didn't do it.
He didn't want the documentary to come out. The one that came out recently about the Bulls.
What documentary?
The one we were just talking about.
Last Dance?
Yeah, he didn't want that one to come out.
What? Why not?
It was just he didn't want to talk about that stuff.
Oh, that's weird. I thought it was he was the main force behind it, is what I heard.
No. He didn't want that. What I was told, what I read was that he did not want to do that, but they had already signed around that time to do the documentary. It was already filmed and everything. So that's, so I've always heard that he's very closeted with his, arguments about who's the best and everything like that. So
I will say this, there are different faces to Michael Jordan, right?
That's true.
He's definitely a competitor. Above anything else, and that's what we saw a lot of in the documentary, was that he's super competitive about everything. Just about anything and everything that you can be competitive about, he will make it a competition and try to win.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm pretty certain if you were to give him a chance to set the record and play, it would never happen. But I still strongly believe that he would totally be up for it.
I think the unfortunate thing is LeBron would probably win because of age.
That's fair. That could be fair. Maybe.
I mean, if it was a 3-point contest, that might be different. I feel like I could see a 3-point contest more than I would like 1-on-1. But anyways, what do you think of that argument when people say?
Yeah, I don't like that argument either. I think that was a bad one too. Basketball isn't about 1-on-1. It's never been about 1-on-1. People have tried to make it about 1-on-1. Like we've seen those players who tried to play iso ball, and they've been the ones historically who've not done well. You have to have a team. That's what Michael learned early on in his career. The first 3-4 years of him in Chicago by himself, where he was scoring like 30 points a game, and he was like really dominating people 1-on-1, but his team wasn't having any success. So you can't play basketball that way. So the greatest players ever are going to be the people who learn how to play basketball the right way. There's a right way to play basketball. There's a wrong way to play basketball. So 1-on-1 does not do justice to who's the greatest player of all time. Because honestly, Shaq is a dominant guy, right? We will both agree Shaq is probably one of the more dominant players. But does he beat Allen Iverson 1-on-1? I don't know. Who gets the ball first? Is it make it, take it? You know? Are there rules? Are there fouls? All that kind of stuff. It comes into play. So I don't think 1-on-1 is a good way to even picture it.
Well, they also all have different strengths and different skill sets. So. Yeah,
but even at their prime, I don't think it's because they played in such different eras too, which is why I think this conversation is a lot harder than most people make it out to be. Because you played in 2 different eras. Michael came up when you didn't really get ticky-tack fouls, really. It was like, if you hit the ground, then we call a foul for you. But for the most part, and even back then, people were complaining that the league was going a little bit too soft on the foul calling. A lot of the players feel like, I watched the interviews from back then, a lot of players were like, oh, well, you just touched Michael Jordan and they call a foul for him. But now it's literally like you touch a player physically, you're going to get a foul call. The 3-point line is much more of a offensive weapon now than it ever was back in the 90s. And even the pace of the game is different. So it's just so different. So I think this conversation is a lot harder than people make it out to be. But I do think that people saying like, oh, 1-on-1, LeBron would dominate him. I don't think that's true, honestly. I think in a 1-on-1, if you got both of them at their prime, I don't think anyone gets dominated. I think it's a close game. And I think, what's really going to come into play is who plays better defense. Who plays better defense the whole game. And I would put money. I would honestly bet on Michael Jordan. I would put money on Michael Jordan to win that.
I think I probably would too. Michael Jordan I think the difference is I've always viewed Michael Jordan as having more tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah.
Like you just, when you think that there's not a way for him to get out of the situation, he finds a way. And that was even when you watch the documentary, like he would literally call out and be like, I'm going to score this many points on you tonight. Yeah. And he would go and do it. He would always find a way to do that. Which was crazy. Whereas LeBron, I've always felt like he used his physicality more as his weapon. And because of his physicality, that's what's made him so successful. He's just so physical and big that, obviously how can you not be, when you're built the way he's built, if for his position, like, how can you not be, I guess, successful in that? Because the thing is, though, is that he's not really a trickster. Like, you don't really, like, when I think of LeBron, I think of him kind of as one weapon. Like, you kind of know what you're getting with him. Yeah. Whereas Michael Jordan, like, it's so hard. I feel like if I was a player who played against Michael Jordan, like if I was playing against LeBron, it'd be like, okay, I'm going to body him a lot. Yeah. I'm going to body him a lot because that's what he's going to go for. If his 3 is off, he's going to go in the paint. He's going to try to, body me up and take me down low. I'm going to try to push him out more. With Michael Jordan, it was like, I feel like it's so hard to figure out a way to defend him. Like, because he had so many tools and he would find a way to score. Like, he would always find a way to score. Whereas I feel like LeBron, the reason he's hard to shut down is because of his size, not necessarily because of his 3-point percentage or, or anything like that. So, which
actually segues into our next point. Physical traits do not make you the greatest basketball player of all time. So Nick Wright has a saying where he's like, LeBron's faster, he's stronger, he's better, and it's like, that doesn't make you the greatest basketball player of all time. Just because you're bigger or stronger or faster than one does not make you a better basketball player. Yeah, it's completely anecdotal. And it has little to do with actual basketball. So much of basketball is just mental. It's a mental game. It's a mental game of like knowing your strengths, knowing your weaknesses, and capitalizing on those things. So if you're just looking at the two specimens and you're going, well, that guy's bigger and taller and faster, so he must be better. You're going to be wrong in a lot of cases because it's the way you're used on the basketball court that actually makes you a good player because of the not just the size of you, but the way that you use your size to your advantage. So I think that's a really, really overblown point from Nick Wright.
Not a fan.
Yeah. And I just think I think there's one more I have. Let me think.
No, you're fine.
I think there's one more. Oh yes, playoffs. Another good segue. You talked about playoffs earlier. A lot of LeBron fans love to say that Michael never made the playoffs until Scottie came around. And then Michael never won a playoff game until Scottie came around. You have to, if you don't know anything about 90s basketball, you probably shouldn't be having this conversation. Like if you, I'm not saying you had to be around there, but you have to know the contextual understanding of basketball back then in order to understand why Michael didn't go to the finals or win a playoff game, a series until Scottie came around. And which is not even true. It's not even true that he had to wait for Scottie to become some sort of all-star in order for them to get really good. No, that's not what had to happen. They needed better players overall, and they needed a better coach just in general. But the problem with the argument is that the same argument can be used against LeBron. Well, LeBron didn't win a final until Dwayne Wade came around. Or LeBron didn't win a final until Chris Bosh came around. And no one would dare say that. No one would dare say that Chris Bosh was the reason why LeBron James won an NBA championship. But it's the truth, though. It's the truth. If that's the context if that's the argument we're going to use, then we have to be fair and use it across the board. So with LeBron, that means LeBron hasn't won a championship until Chris Bosh came.
Well, do you think, though, there's a difference between playoffs versus finals in the sense of like LeBron went to the playoffs and Michael Jordan went to the playoffs but couldn't win? Because didn't if I remember correctly, didn't LeBron win a few playoff games when he was just by himself?
Yeah, he won a few, but two things I'll say. He didn't have the level of competition because you got to remember this is the 80s now. We're not talking about the 90s anymore. We're talking about the 80s. It's the early 80s and late 80s, and we're talking about we have the
was it 88, 89?
Yeah, 88, 89. So we had the Celtics. Celtics are running the gambit on everybody basically at this point. They have some of the best, the Hall of Fame starting five, I think, at that point still. And they didn't really age out until like a little bit part of the early 90s. We have the Pistons who are running roughshod over everybody. And they didn't really age out again until earlier 90s. And we have
this is all in the East.
Yeah, it's all in the East. And remember, it wasn't the same series, even the same number of games that we have nowadays, where we have it's best of 7. I think back then it was best of 5 in the early playoff series. And also the league didn't have as many teams, so it was harder for you to win as many games because you didn't have, you have cupcake teams that you play every year. Maybe you play them 2-4 times and you get those wins easy. They didn't have that many teams that until like I think 95, I want to say 94. It was when the league expanded. So there are a lot of reasons, and again, Michael Jordan. Everyone, I think, when you're at your beginning stages of understanding NBA basketball and what it takes to win that, I think you should be allowed some grace period for that. LeBron had grace period for several years until he made the finals in 2007. So I think you should be able to have. It doesn't impugn your record if you have a couple of years where you're still learning the league. You win the championship in college, and then he comes out of college, goes to the Bulls, and they don't really have much. They've historically not been a very good team. So he's really starting from scratch with this team with a really aged roster, and he's the only really good, solid player on that team. So
yeah,
there's a lot of context around that. Is my point.
Also, back then, Michael Jordan, this really doesn't matter in the argument overall because it's not the NBA. But if you even look at Michael Jordan in general, like he went to college and he won the national championship as well. Like I don't see how you can say he's not the greatest or the greatest basketball player when he's had so much success from everywhere, like from like high school to college to the NBA. Like he's
and globally because he won the Olympics too.
He did, yeah, and globally as well. And that was the first time that ever happened. I mean, he was a part of the dream team, which is awesome. Which is just a crazy, like, little add in there. But, I don't know, he's had so much success over the course of his life in basketball that LeBron hasn't had. I mean, I'm not saying LeBron was not successful in high school. He was successful in high school. But he didn't choose to go to college, which is fine. Nobody has to go to college, but would I say, oh yeah, if LeBron was in college, would he win the college championship? I don't know. I know that Michael Jordan did. So I don't know.
It's the same thing with a dunk contest, right? It's like, could we say like if LeBron had been in the dunk contest, would he have won? It's like, yeah, probably, maybe, I don't know. But
he wouldn't do it.
He didn't do it, and Michael did, and so it's
Michael's done all these things, and he's been successful in almost every area.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's probably what makes him stand out is that it's not that the thing is, like you said, LeBron didn't do that. LeBron most of the time for the majority of the All-Star, weekend, he would sit on the sidelines and watch.
Yeah.
And then he'd play in the game, which the game doesn't really matter. I actually think one of the worst we're talking about bad arguments. I think one of the worst arguments to bring up is the All-Star appearances.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes.
That's such a garbage. Like I don't. Nobody cares about All-Star appearances. Like literally, you just have to be a decent player and have fans like you to go.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't mean a whole lot, at least to me. Like
no, yeah. I mean, there have been several players who have been injured for the whole season, and just because they had a huge fan base, like Kobe Bryant, I think one year he was injured for the whole year. But he still got picked for the All-Star game because the fans still voted him in. Yeah. So it's like the All-Star picks are really just from casual fans who just know the name of the player.
Yeah.
So that's why every year LeBron James is going to be one of the highest people. Stephen Curry is going to be one of the highest people. Kevin Durant is going to be one of the highest people just because they have name recognition. That's just really all it is.
Do you know anybody who, I don't know, growing up, and I had a lot of friends who like watched the NBA and stuff, and in high school, I knew lots of kids who watched the NBA. I didn't know anybody who said I wanted to be like LeBron James. Like this is again anecdotal, but like, I don't know. Did you ever know anybody who said I wanted to be like LeBron James? Like,
no. And that's another problem with LeBron is that his talent comes from his physical gifts. And they're amazing. Exactly, yeah. They're really amazing. He's basically like he's built like a linebacker, but he moves like a running back, or like a gazelle. Like he's so swift and quick, and he's in full control of everything that he does. So his game is less. I'm not gonna say it's non-mental. I'm not trying to say like he's not a smart basketball player. He's really, really smart. He's really intelligent. He's probably one of the highest basketball IQs in NBA history. But I'm just saying his talent comes from his physical gifts. Whereas in Michael, all of his talent came from purely hard work. Like he had to go and get bigger and get stronger because he was taking so much beatings when he was going inside the paint. He had to work on his jump shot. Like he just had to. He didn't come into the league with a really good jump shot. That was one of the negatives in his draft. And when they were drafting him was that he did not have a reliable jump shot. And he had to go and work on that until he became an elite mid-range shooter. Also, his free throw shooting. I think his free throw shooting started at like 70% or something like that when he first started off in the league. That's another thing that he had to really work hard and do. I think the really only physical gift that he had was his ability to fly. Was just like out of this world. He had balances. Yeah,
his finesse though. He was a great finisher.
Yeah, his balance is just insane. He can hang for like ever. So I think that's what a lot of people saw in Michael was that, hey, if I work really hard, I can be like that guy. And so yeah, I want to be like Mike. That's I think that's where the saying came from at least. I don't know.
Like Mike. Yeah. What was that, a McDonald's commercial? I'm trying to remember that commercial in general.
Yeah, I think it was a McDonald's commercial.
It sucks.
And then it turned into a movie.
Yeah. It sucks that like when I was a kid, I was just young enough to kind of miss some watching his games like on TV. I would have caught like when I was 6, if my parents weren't huge into sports, like my dad liked watching Michael Jordan, but like growing up, we didn't really have cable or things like that. So when I never really was able to fully watch a game. So all I've ever seen are like, past games recorded from ESPN or documentaries and things like that. But Michael Jordan is one of those people that like, even to this day, people want to go back and look at how great he was. Even when you're like, even if you were born in like the 2000s, like people just want to go back and see what made this guy so great. And they watch and they're like, oh my gosh, I see why he was such a big deal.
Yeah.
LeBron is, I don't know. The thing about we're arguing about the physicality. The only place I could say where that's probably not the case is with Shaq. Even though Shaq is huge, I feel like for the time being, there was lots of people who wanted to be like Shaq.
Yeah.
I know lots of people who wanted to be like Kobe. I knew tons of people who wanted to be like Kobe, Mamba mentality. That was like his thing, which you could argue that part of that is marketing, but I still, I didn't know a lot of people. I knew like 2 people whose favorite athlete was LeBron, but like they didn't grow up being like, I want to be like LeBron, like I just don't know anybody who, and I don't know why that is. That could, you could argue
because he's a 6'7" black guy, so I'm not sure. In Oklahoma, you have anybody who's going to be like that.
Yeah, there's some white kids, okay, that are corn-fed, work on the farm. LeBron James, you've heard of him, right?
LeBron James.
Yeah, have you seen him? There's a guy from like Kansas, and he's a big boy. Like he's like 6'2", 6'3", super thick. He works on a farm, and he does trick shots on TikTok. And he's like in overalls and stuff. He's got red hair. He's a ginger guy, and he'll do like these he'll do these trick shots on his farm. Like he'll set up like a goal and stuff, and he'll even have like a peach basket, like what they did back in the day, like, where they didn't have a net and they had a basket. He'll set that up. And the internet has dubbed him LeBron James. It's hilarious. Anyways, but yeah, I think, I don't know. LeBron James, I think my dad always has a hard time with this, but I'll be like, yeah, I obviously think he's the greatest player right now. Like he's the most dominant player right now. But just because of that, I think you're right. I mean, I'm not trying to simplify your argument, but if you're boiling it down to essentially, you need to add as much context as possible to the conversation to really symbolize who is better out of the two. Whether you're arguing for LeBron James or for Michael Jordan, if you don't have that extra context in there, you're just making really mute points. And I would agree. I think most people do. Honestly, I would say over time, people on sports television have gotten worse with their arguments. Like I feel like debating, they used to be better, and now it's just kind of like, this is my point.
Clickbait. It's all clickbait.
Yeah.
It's all clickbait.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
It's I'm just my only point is, I think objectively you can come to the conclusion that Michael Jordan is the best player ever. You don't have to be. It doesn't have to be an opinion. You can objectively come to that conclusion just based on his achievement, based on the totality of his career, based on just breakdown of his game. Like I was watching this video, and one of the things that they were talking about is like you can't really find, and this is kind of going back to what you were talking about. You can't really find a weakness in Michael's game. Like if you're guarding him, he doesn't really have a weakness. I mean, sure, you can push him out the 3-pointers, but in the finals, he made 6 in a row. So it's like, do I really want to do that? I mean, again, you got to remember,
he wasn't someone to just jack up shots either.
Yeah.
He wasn't like Russell Westbrook, where he just like, he was very choosy with his shots, at least whenever I watch him.
Yeah.
He wasn't, now if he was in the paint, he was pretty much guaranteed going to make it.
Yeah.
Like every time. But if he's outside the 3-point line, I feel like I never saw him just like throw up a shot. I'm sure he did, but
it wasn't consistent enough because again, you gotta remember, this is the context of the 90s era. There's not really a big presence on the 3-point line. I mean, you have a few sprinkled 3-point shooters, but they're not really that's not really a big deal because it's a less
his mid-range, and you're right, his mid-range game got way better.
His mid-range, especially once they started winning the championships, his mid-range game was basically lethal.
Yeah.
And so you really had to guard him on the entire floor. And so, but with other players, you can find their weak points. Okay, so this guy can't shoot free throws. I'm going to put him on the line. This guy can't really shoot the ball at all, so I'm gonna give him space and I'm gonna make him shoot. This guy can't really shoot threes, so I'm gonna leave him out there and I'm going under every screen. You know, but with Michael, you don't really have a weakness. Even with his passing was pretty good. One season he averaged like 8 assists a game. But that just wasn't the flow of their offense. Like if you watch a triangle offense, it's not really about one person like giving all the passes or making all the assists like it is with like LeBron James, who's just a dominant ball carrier, or with Luka Doncic or with Chris Paul. They don't play in triangle offenses. But if you watch like Kobe Bryant triangle offense, Michael Jordan triangle offense, it's typically about getting the ball down to the post and then from the post operating out there until you find an open shot. So, but he still wasn't a pretty good passer. So even if you sit double teams, triple teams at him, he could get rid of the ball into a spot where it's going to be advantageous for his team. So there's not really a weakness to his game that I think you can.
He was good at running routes too. That's something that nobody like pays attention
off
to. But like, yeah,
he's
like
really good off the ball as well.
He's very good. Yeah, I mean that's something people don't pay attention to anymore. They're always focused on scoring. But it's like if you have someone who's very good at cutting or weaving. Like that's and they're a good shot too. Like that's super beneficial.
And that's one thing that Curry really kind of brought back to the league was playing off ball as a superstar. Like most superstars up until Curry stopped playing off the ball because they were like, "Why? Just give me the ball."
They just pass it and like wait.
Yeah.
Like give me the ball.
Give me the ball. Yeah. But I think that's why Durant was able to get into their offense so easily was because he was able to play off the ball too. And that's another thing that Michael was really good at. But you don't really see, and I'm not this is not me taking shots at LeBron, but this is me taking this is just me showing you the gap between the greatest player of all time and everybody else. You don't really see other players really doing that, great players doing that, being able to play off the ball like that. Most of them have to dominate the ball heavily in order for them to get theirs. But he could do anything you needed him to do to win. He can rebound, he can assist, he can steal. I mean, I think he's up on the steal charts too. He can block, and as a shooting guard, that was extremely rare to block, to be a really good blocker as a shooting guard. Even nowadays, it's still extremely rare. So,
definitely.
So you don't have a lot of weaknesses to his game, is my point. Even on defense, he was a ferocious defender. Like you never saw him take a play off playing defense.
Well, I was about to say so. And you might be getting this point, and I kind of want to steal it from you because I think it's a good point. But the stat that has always impressed me the most about Michael Jordan compared to other people is that he won defensive MVP player, or defensive player of the year, and he's won offensive player of the year. I think both multiple times. So doesn't he have 2? I thought he had 2.
He has 1 defensive player of the year, but he won defensive player of the year and MVP in the same season though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. So, I mean, that in and of itself is like a pretty impressive stat that the entire NBA said, what was he? He was a point guard or small forward?
Shooting guard.
Shooting guard. Sorry. Thank you. I think that for a shooting guard and you're getting, usually the defensive player of the year, who's that going to? That's going to your post.
Yeah, a big guy.
Right? It's going to Shaq. It's going to Kareem. It's going to, people who are big and play in the post. It's going to a shooting guard. He must have had some crazy defense. To get that. And I think that in and of itself usually blows a lot of these greatest of all times out of the way, because when you're that well-rounded of a player, it's kind of like that proves it right there. To me, anyways, that's all I need.
And that's which is segue to our next point is the LeBron can play he can defend all 5 positions. That's another completely overblown. Another overblown.
I don't think his defense is that great.
It was, and so this is always my problem with LeBron. And this is just me personally because I've always been a defensive minded player. I love defense. I love low scoring games when people are just like in each other's shorts trying to play hard defense, and I love it when the refs just let them play it out. But LeBron you can often see him taking plays off. He doesn't always, and almost never actually, does he guard the best player on the other team. He's usually playing some kind of secondary role player, but he's really good at that because he's really able to jump passing lanes. He's really able to disrupt plays, get side blocks.
His wingspan is pretty.
Yeah,
He's pretty wide. They usually whenever I see him play, he's usually not out on the 3-point line face guarding his player. He's usually more inside
drifting
the paint.
Into the paint, yeah. To disrupt and stuff. And that's a really good strategy for him because he has the IQ to be able to read to what you're going to do on offense before you get to it so you can stop it. Now, occasionally he's played defense against the best player, and he's done okay. I wouldn't say he's been like anything stellar, but he's done okay. He's done enough to be able to stop the player. But when Jordan's playing, 9 times out of 10, he's either guarding their best player or their second best player. And this is for the entire season. He's never taking a game off where he's not doing his hardest on defense. Whereas nowadays we see people take more time off, take load management, take games off, don't play back-to-back games, and they usually aren't giving their full effort in the regular season. And that was one thing I heard from someone, an old head. This is what I call him. But it's a guy who watched a lot of basketball, but he came from an older generation of players. And he said the one thing that he always valued the most about Michael Jordan was if he ever paid a ticket to go see Michael Jordan, he knew Michael was not going to cheat him out of his ticket. Like he knew Michael was going to give him 100% the moment he stepped on the court, and he was going to see something crazy that night. And I was like, wow, that's true. That's true. Well, nowadays, you might not know what you're going to get.
I will say this, we're kind of in an era now where, and it's not, I don't blame this on the NBA players, but the NBA players don't really respect the fans as much. Yeah. We've seen that recently, but I will say the fans haven't always done a great job of garnering that respect.
That's true.
When you're seeing fans throw things at players and things like that.
Been on them,
Yeah. That's been happening for a while. I don't agree with that behavior, but I'm sure that happened in the 90s even more than now.
Yeah.
But, with the culture we're in, it's a little bit softer. So, I think Michael Jordan respected his role as an entertainer as well.
Yeah.
Which is something, I feel like we're on the Michael Jordan train heavy now. But he did though, when you watch some of the documentaries he was in, one moment that always sticks out to me is I watched the 30 for 30 Jordan Rides the Bus. I always recommend people watching that 30 for 30. It's such a great documentary, and it's about him playing basketball or baseball. It's about his entire year when he was playing baseball instead, or his entire season. And that's a really interesting documentary because baseball, he was actually able to, when you're playing basketball, you're not really talking with the fans very much. Baseball, it's a lot easier, especially minor league baseball. Yeah. It's a lot easier to interact with the fans. And so you got to see how he treated people outside of it. And they said that on the weekends and stuff, when they didn't have a game, he would drive to a pool hall and he'd just be he'd sit down next to the locals and he'd just have a drink with them and he'd play pool with them, maybe even play some bets. Cause he loved to gamble. And he would just but he would literally be hi, my name's Jordan, what's your name? Or my name's Michael, what's your name? And he would just sit down one-on-one with them. And I think he's just I think he saw people as people and not just and I think he respected the fact that, I think he respected the fact that because of his roots and the way his parents taught him, he was kind of I know people are coming in to pay to see me play, and I think that was a responsibility. I think he knew about that. I think he was conscious about that. Yeah. He didn't, obviously he loved the money that he got and everything, but he always seemed, I think for a lot of people, Michael Jordan seemed more down to earth for a lot of people. I don't really know why, but a lot more than LeBron, and some of the other players.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all Hollywood now.
Yeah.
It's all Hollywood now.
Yeah, definitely.
But those are just a few of some really, really bad takes that I've heard. We'll continue this segment at a later time. I just wanted to put this out into the internet universe that if anyone is considering making a video about LeBron versus Jordan and you're on LeBron's side or you're on Jordan's side, be consistent for one. If you're going to make a point, be consistent all the way around. Two, give context to everything you talk about. So if you're going to say that LeBron went to the finals every single year, let's talk about the losses. Let's talk about the disappearing acts. Let's talk about the East. We're going to say that Jordan won 6 titles. Let's talk about we can talk about level of competition. I think that's a fair argument to have. If you want to talk about his level of competition in the finals, that's a fair argument to have. I don't think he's really played any Warriors type teams like with Kevin Durant at least. But if you want to talk about him scoring against a bunch of guys who just came into the league or whatever because the league had expanded and they brought in a bunch of different players and stuff like that. That's fine. That's a fine argument too. I'm fine with that. And this isn't just like, oh, what's fine with Jonathan? That's the only way we can make an argument. This is just like, I'm saying like some of these are just really bad ideas because they're not productive to having this conversation. I can't meet you somewhere and we can't come to a common ground if we can't even establish like, okay, that is a bad take. Saying 6 rings means GOAT is a bad take. We can't say, LeBron's bigger, faster, and stronger. That's a bad take. Okay, we need to have a full argument with context, with nuance, and with just consistency all across the board. All across the board. Because if you're going to talk about Scottie Pippen, you have to talk about the number of all-star help that LeBron needed to win the championship. Honestly, he's like, I need help win a championship. LeBron needs help to win a championship. Eric needs help to win a championship. We all need help to win a championship. But Michael did not need help.
I agree. Well, we'll leave it on that for people to hang on. Because I'm sure if anybody hears that last part that Michael didn't need help, they're going to be going into the comments. But I could see some
didn't need it, but got it.
Some keyboard warriors.
Anyway,
we went longer on that topic than I thought we actually would. I didn't think we'd go that long on that topic. But that's awesome. Well, the second to last thing we're going to talk about, these last 2 guys will probably be fairly quick. But we have we're doing a new segment, and we're probably gonna rename it like we renamed the Eric's Picks one. But it's Hot Takes with Jonathan. And even though we did get kind of a hot take just a second ago, and we're gonna use his nickname that he's using today with Old Scratch Johnson.
Old Scratch Johnson, hot takes.
So today's hot take, I'm gonna give Jonathan. Let's see if I can give him the floor here a little bit.
Can I just give a rant real quick?
You sure can. Go ahead.
Thank you. NBA 2K, what is the deal with that game? Why is this game so hard to make? Like, does anyone play basketball anymore? Does anyone know how to play basketball anymore? Now, I want to give credit to Mike. I think his name is Mike Wing or something like that. The guy who's trying to bring 2K back to where it was. I recently played 2016, 2K 2016. It feels like a completely different game. I was so flabbergasted. I couldn't shoot. I didn't know how to drive the ball. I didn't know what was a good time to go for a steal. It felt like I was playing basketball on Mars or something like that. It's like 2 totally different games.
What is it? 16 compared to what?
2020.
2020? Okay.
Yeah. And it wasn't in a good way. It wasn't like, oh, the game is so much better now. It was just like I'm just playing it differently. I had to figure out how to play it differently now. But again, I want to preface my comments with I understand they're trying to fix the game, but I want to talk about some major issues with this game that need to be addressed ASAP. This should have been addressed before the game even came out, honestly. Like the defense on the game has been horrendous for years. This has not just started this year. The defense has been horrendous for years. Nobody on your team will know how to guard a pick and roll for nothing. That makes no sense. That's like basketball 101. You learn that on the first day. How do you guard a pick and roll? Do you go under or do you go over? Okay, if I put it on auto, what does that mean? Okay, this time we're going to go under. This time we're going to go over. There's no consistency to the game. And if we're playing Stephen Curry, why would my point guard go under a screen ever?
Preach.
Why ever?
Preach.
That makes zero sense. So defense and not just the computer, the AI defense, because the computer it truly cheats you to make sure that it wins. It truly cheats you on this game to make sure that it wins because the computer is not competitive. It can't play with you because the way that they have designed this AI, the computer cannot play with you. They know that, so they have to manipulate the game, run a narrative behind the scenes to make sure that you're out of position to where they can score on you. Like it's insane to me that the number of times I'm playing a game, and I usually play 12-minute quarters, so I'm playing a full-length game, and this takes me about an hour and 10 minutes to play. So I'm investing 70 minutes into a single game, one game. Not 2, not 5, not 6. One game I'm investing 70 minutes into, and it's astounding to me the number of times I have to stop and pause the game and go, what was that? And I go back to the Instagram play and rewind and go, why would I do that? The passing is completely broken. It's been broken for so many years. It's been so broken. Directional passing doesn't work on the game. I don't know why they keep telling us to just do directional passing. It doesn't work, okay? And I'm afraid to change to anything else because I'm afraid it's going to get worse. And that'd be bad. That'd be worse than what I already have, okay? If I do a pick and roll, the obvious choice for the pass should always be to my big man. Whoever just set the pick, that should be the obvious pass. But for some reason, if I'm pointing towards him and I press X, I throw it across the court and they get an easy steal. And then the other guy, apparently he didn't even come back on defense. He's already on the other end of the court. What? We're cherry picking now, computer? That's how hard the computer has to play to beat me. And also, the AI's defense against you is also completely trash. It's not good at all. They don't know how to play defense. You can literally run the same play, pick and roll every single time down the court, which is what most people do, which is why I think it's insane. The one-on-ones are just playing against anybody is insane because you know what they're going to do. They're going to pick and roll. They're going to crossover, and run to the lane and get an easy bucket. It's not real basketball. It's just pick and roll, easy bucket. Pick and roll, easy bucket. You know what they're going to do. Okay? You really can't guard it because you can't stay in front of anybody on defense. Okay? But anyway, the AI defense is just trash. It's horrible. I know I can score 50 a game if I wanted to. If I really wanted to, I could score 50 a game with almost anybody. If I really, really wanted to. If I was really trying hard, because it's easy. All you got to do is get into the paint. And once you get into the paint, you have like an 80%, 90% chance you're going to make it. And the computer can't stop you. They don't know how to get in front of you. They don't know how to play defense where they shade you to a certain part of the court. They don't know how to stop you from getting into the middle of the lane and making easy passes to your big man. It's insane. Also, post moves have sucked from 2K like 16. Why aren't you giving any love to guys who actually play in the paint? No love. I have to do the same moves over and over again in order to get my post player to score. And that's just absolutely crazy. If I try a dream shake, I know I'm going to miss. If I try a fadeaway, I know I'm going to miss. If I try a hook shot, I'm like 50% chance I'm going to miss that shot. Okay? Even with someone talented, like if I get a Joel Embiid or if I get a Hakeem Olajuwon, I'm still pretty sure I'm going to miss a fadeaway shot, which is stupid. That's just stupid. Like if you watch these players, watch Kevin Garnett, watch Paul Pierce, watch these players take these fade shots. That's their game. LeBron shoots, his shot is a fadeaway shot. But if you try to go into the paint and do a post fade, you're going to miss. What? How does that make any sense? Who designed this game? Okay? We need more than just a drop step for a post player, and it should be based on their reaction. But I know it's hard. Okay? I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt because I know it's hard. Okay, it's hard to make this game because the computer already knows your moves when you do them. So you can't really fool the computer, but they kind of got to fool the computer in order for the game to be fair. But I get it's hard, but I'm just saying there are some simple basketball stuff that are just absent from the game that make the game infuriating to play. That's why you have so many people who get so frustrated playing this game. And it's not like a fun frustrated where it's like, oh man, I got to try again to beat this boss. Like I was playing Batman the other day and I was getting so frustrated because I couldn't get these combos down. But it's a fun frustrated because I want to keep playing. With this game, I want to break my TV. It's like that's insane. I just literally want to punch it because it's so stupid the way this game treats you. It laughs at you for trying to play good defense. It berates you for trying to play smart offense, and it just absolutely destroys you for trying to think that you could play smart basketball in this simulated basketball game. It doesn't reward you for that. It doesn't reward you for playing smart basketball. It doesn't reward you for playing high IQ basketball. It doesn't reward you for making the right pass to the open guy. It doesn't reward any of that. And what you end up having to do is going into your settings and messing with all of the mechanics of the game because they know the game is bad. So you have to go in there and change them yourself in order to balance the game out just a little bit, a fraction of the piece. But even in that, you're still not going to get what you want. You're still not going to get the kind of basketball experience that you really want. Now, to my Madden people, you guys have it so much worse than us, but we still have it pretty bad, okay? The game is still pretty bad. I've seen some clips from 21, and a lot of people have given it credit for being better than 20, which is not that much, okay? Okay, it's really not that big of an achievement when you're in the middle of a pandemic season and your game is slightly better than the pandemic game. It's like, okay, it's not really that big of a deal. I wouldn't be too proud of that. But this game, it has simple mechanics that are just bad. The animations in this game are horrendous. The dunk animations are just they're garbage. They're horrible. They're horrible. Whoever thought it was a good idea to put animations in sports games was an absolute, oh my gosh. This person should be fired. It should never be hired for anyone ever again to do anything. The animations in this game are just absolutely dreadful. You get locked into an animation and you can't move anymore. You can't do anything to stop the play from happening. The play is going to happen regardless of what you do. The moment someone gets into that dunk animation, 98, 99% of the time they're going to dunk on you. No matter if you get a weak side help defender, no matter if you try to foul them, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Another thing I can't stand, as soon as you press a button, it's done. You have to do the action, even if the action is no longer needed for the moment. So, for instance, let's say I'm running down the court, I'm guarding this guy, and I'm trying to reach. And so I press box, and then he blows past me. I pressed box like 2 minutes ago, and now my controller is just registering that box has been pressed. Now, this is not just my controller. I played on multiple systems, multiple platforms. This is just a problem with the game. The moment you press box to reach, you have to reach now. You don't have a choice. He's gone. He's blown past you, and then your guys just they're like, ugh. And he's like, swipe to get the air. There's nobody there. Why would I try to reach? Why would I try to reach? There's nobody there. And he's already gone to the rim. And don't even get me started on boxing out. Like it's the things that make a smart basketball player, right? The people who play smart basketball are interested in the little things like boxing out. They're interested in post play. They're interested in defense. They're interested in staying in front of their man and playing good rotational defense. Those are the little things that make a smart basketball player. But 2K has broken those things. Okay, so don't even get me started on trying to box out a player. You can't do it. It's impossible almost in most situations unless you are that much bigger than them. Unless I'm like 6'10", 6'11". If the moment I start boxing you out, you're just going to – literally, that's what happens. They grab you and they push you aside and grab the board. That's happened to me so many times. It's like I'm in perfect position. I'm like, okay, we played perfect defense. Play good defense. We got a bad shot. Let's box out and let's get the board. Once the ball goes up, I'm starting to box out, and then he just swims right around me, gets the board, and then dunks it. And you can't do nothing about it. As soon as he grabs the board, it's over. It's over. It's basically a putback dunk. You might as well put it as a putback dunk because it's basically over. And don't even get me started with missing alley-oop dunks, wide open layups. Don't even get me started with that. Okay, the fact that even happens is crazy. I get it under pressure situations where a certain player might miss that shot, but like if I have James Harden, I shouldn't miss a layup. A wide open one? No, never. If I have LeBron James, I shouldn't miss a wide open layup. Never. Okay, he just doesn't do that. Like, you should really go into the game. You should really have a team of players, of people who watch film, who are dedicated to studying film on these players and seeing their tendencies in the game. Like, how many times does LeBron fade over his right shoulder than his left shoulder? And what is his percentage making it over his right shoulder than his left shoulder? Okay? How many times does he airball it? How many times does he rim it out? How many times does he miss over the backboard? You know? Like, that kind of stuff should be analyzed. I mean, you're a $1 billion company. You should be able to afford that. That should be easy. Have someone studying the film each year to make sure they're getting the game right. Because certain things just don't make sense. Like, oh my gosh, like I'm DeAndre Jordan, I'm getting dunked on by like a fourth bench player. Like what? This stuff doesn't happen. I'm Rudy Gobert and I'm getting dunked on by a rotational player. Like this stuff doesn't happen. It rarely happens if it does happen. Okay. And you make the game so simple. I understand why, because you want to get these other people to play who don't really play basketball in real life. So, and think about this. You have a bunch of non-basketball playing people thinking they're good at basketball now. How does that make sense? If you can't play real basketball, you should not be good at 2K. I'm just sorry. You shouldn't. You shouldn't. I know it's supposed to be a video game, but it's a basketball simulation. If you're not good at basketball, You can't be good at 2K. It just doesn't work that way. It doesn't.
Basketball Matrix.
It doesn't. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry. I know you want this huge thing where you want everyone invited. Maybe make a simple mode for them. Maybe make a casual mode for them. For the people who don't really play basketball, here's your casual mode. But for everybody else, this is real basketball, okay? We're not going to shortchange you. We're going to reward you for the little things that you do. Now, in 2K's defense, I have not played the newest 2K yet. So I could be completely wrong and everything's gotten fixed. Even though I've already seen bugs with it, watching other people's videos. I've already seen bugs with this new game as well. So but the things that they talked about changing have been things that I've been upset about for so many years. Like defense. That was one of the number one things that he talked about was we're trying to fix defense this year. We're trying to reward you for staying in front of your man and for making good defensive plays and for making the smart defensive play. Okay? Because sometimes the smart defensive play isn't a block or a steal. Sometimes it's just contesting the shot. That's the smart defensive play that time. Sometimes it is going underneath the screen to force John Morant to shoot a three. It is. Oh my gosh. That just brought me another point. Don't get me started on a number of times that people who don't regularly shoot threes go like 6 for 7 in 3-point shooting. Like I played Russell Westbrook and he's going 6 for 7 on me in 3 points. Shooting threes. He's going 6 for 7. What? What kind of game are we playing here? Are we even playing basketball anymore? Or is this just NBA Jam now? What is this? How is Russell Westbrook going 6 for 7? He's not Bradley Beal. He's not Steph Curry.
I love NBA Jam, bro.
Yes, it's a great game. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying that's not the same as 2K. 2K should be different. You should not have Russell Westbrook going 6 for 7 ever. He doesn't do that. That's not his game, okay? There are certain people like LeBron should not go 5 for 7, 5 for 6. He shouldn't do that, okay? He's not that good of a 3-point shooter. I'm sorry. Look at his stats. We know that. That's insane to me. That infuriates me because sometimes on defense, the smart play is to let him shoot. You want LeBron James taking threes. You want him to shoot because he's not that good of a 3-point shooter. I want Russell Westbrook shooting threes because I know he's not that good of a 3-point shooter. Okay, maybe he hits 3 on me in that game. Maybe he goes 3 for 7. That makes sense. 3 for 8. That makes more sense. 3 for 9. That's probably more likely. But I want him to shoot because it's better he shoots than he gets into the rim. But now I'm forced as Kawhi Leonard to play defense at the 3-point line on LeBron instead of giving him space so that I can play him from the paint. And now I'm in a don't get me started on how you make these superstars so bloated. They're so OP, you can't stop them. I cannot stop Luka Doncic for nothing. It doesn't matter how well you're playing defense. It doesn't matter if you decide not to play defense. It doesn't matter if you assign 2 defenders to him the entire game. It doesn't matter. He's going to drop 40 on you. It's going to happen. Unless you're not playing a Hall of Fame, unless you don't have your stuff your sliders slip all the way up. He's going to drop 40 on you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what kind of game plan you have. It doesn't matter. Okay? And the computer doesn't get tired, which is absurd to me. That they don't spend any energy throughout the whole game. How is that? Like in basketball, a tactic is fatigue. You fatigue somebody by little things. Like you guard them the whole way of the court. Right? So one of my things of stopping Luka Doncic was, okay, I'm going to have Kawhi guard him from once he inbounds the ball on my side of the court all the way up the court. And so by the fourth quarter, what's happened? He should be so low on energy. He shouldn't have energy to do anything because he's getting hounded the entire game. But fourth quarter comes, he's basically got full energy. It doesn't matter. Like it didn't none of that stuff mattered that I did to him. None of it mattered. And double team. The double teams have always been bad. They've been so bad. The moment I double team, one of my guys goes, "Oh, so you're gonna leave Russell Westbrook wide open from the 3? Oh, let me give it a better suggestion. Oh, you're gonna leave Andre Roberson wide open from the 3. I guess I should go guard him. Why would you guard Andre Roberson from the 3? He can't shoot. He barely can shoot. I left him open on purpose. Better example, Ben Simmons. I left Ben Simmons open on 3 on purpose, and I'm doubling Joel Embiid because I know I can get away with that. I know if you pass it to Ben Simmons from 3 and he shoots, he's going to miss. I did that on purpose, but I can't get away with that because the moment I do that, my AI goes, oh, I guess I should go guard Ben Simmons. And he gets off of Danny Green, who can actually shoot threes, and guards Ben Simmons. How does that make sense? How does that make any sense to anybody that he would go do that? And now Danny Green has a wide open three. What is this? What is this? What actually is this? How am I playing basketball anymore? And let's not even talk about how the double teams will force you into turnovers that you did not intend to commit. Because the moment I see a double team coming, I'm passing the ball, and my guy like does this weird spin move into somebody's leg and loses the ball. What? That wasn't what I was trying to do. But it's the animation. The animation. You're in the animation. You're trapped in the animation. You can't get out of it. Are we playing basketball or no? I don't get it. Am I playing basketball? Am I in control or not? I don't get it. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. And it's like those things people have been complaining about those things for years, and they still have not got fixed. So I'm not going to give you a pat on the back if this game is marginally better than the last game. I'm not giving you that pat on the back because this game has been broken for so long. It's been so broken for so long. I can go on for days about the issues and problems that this game has that does not translate to real basketball. So I double teams are bad. They're just so bad, and they need to be fixed. Okay, they need to be fixed ASAP. They should have been fixed yesterday, but they need to be fixed as soon as possible. Okay, double teaming is a key, is a important function of defense. If I'm not able to double team somebody who's already having a good night, then you're basically letting them walk away with more points than they deserve. But I can't double team him because the double teaming in this game is so broken. It's insanely broken. And don't even get me started on clock management at the end of games when I'm trying to save a possession by intentionally fouling, and you let him just run straight up the court because I'm stuck in the animation now and I can't guard him anymore. What is that? How does that happen? I can't guard him anymore. I'm trying to intentionally foul. He gets away from my first guy, and so now I'm like, okay, let's just play defense. But it's too late. I press the button. No. You press the button now. We got to foul him. And now it's the N1. What? What are we doing? That 2K, that was not my intention. That was not my intention. I wasn't trying to do that. I wasn't trying to do that. Crazy. It's crazy. It's absurd.
Okay. We know. It's okay. It's all right, man. It's okay. You okay? You good?
I'm better. I got it out of my system.
Well, that was hot takes with old Scratch Johnson. I'm sure he'll have another one next time or in a couple days. Oh my gosh. Okay. Anyways, well, Jonathan, do we want to end it here, or we're getting close to our 2.5 hour time frame. Do we want to just wrap it up and save our last topic for next week? What do you think?
It's up to you, man. If you want to go into the next one, we can stop here, or we can go into the next one. It's up to you. I think
we should, guys. I think we should wrap it up for now. Okay. On that note, but we will next week. We'll have a live segment where we talk about bad dating advice we received. So I'll give you guys a little tidbit about what next week's will be, but we'll have a little bit about that, and we'll talk about that for a little bit. But thank you everyone for listening, and for liking, and for sharing, for everything that you guys are doing. Thank you for commenting. We appreciate it. We're just here to have fun and to involve everybody in the conversations we have. I literally feel like when you were ranting there, I felt like I was back in the dorm room, like telling me about something that you were like, I don't understand. This is crazy. And I was laughing so hard. I was looking at the second one, the new one, the 2K 2022, and I really think we should like do a stream. We'll figure it out, but where we both play it, because I really want to see if it's better or not. then and people can laugh at how bad I am at the
game. I've heard from some of the critics, people who actually did not like, who complained about 2K for years.
Mm-hmm.
Heard from them that 2K21 is a marginally better game. It is better, but there are still some severe issues.
You mean 22?
So, 20,
right?
Yes, sorry, 22.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know. I'm getting the 20s mixed up myself. I keep doing that. But yeah, it is when they say marginally better, what do they mean by marginally better?
They mean like defense is better. Like you can actually play defense now. It's not still not like where you would expect a next gen console game to be at, but it is still better than it was last year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got rid of some of the dunk animation stuff. And you can actually like block people now, so that's nice. Good too. And
animations don't sound like a very good idea, to be honest.
No. Who thought that was?
I feel like they're just wanting. Oh, here he goes again. Hey,
who thought that was? I don't understand. I understand why they did it because it makes it looks cool. It looks really, really cool. Like if you're trying to posterize somebody, it looks really cool to get them trapped in that animation to where you're like, and you're like dunking on them and stuff like that. But it physically. It doesn't make sense to do it because now I'm stuck in the animation and I can't do anything but what the animation is telling me to do at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is like I think they're trying. From what you're saying, it sounds like they're trying to push on the explosiveness of the NBA 24/7, and it's just not like that.
Yeah.
It's not like you're not gonna have a huge play every single take. You know what I mean? Like it's
exactly
every time you go down the floor. Like it's
you're not gonna have you're not gonna have someone getting posterized every time you're going on the floor.
Yeah. Exactly. So that's crazy. But anyways, well, guys, we'll be back next week for more Just Visiting, and hopefully you guys will join us again. But anyways, besides that, just one more time to let you know you can follow us on Facebook. We're also on Twitter and Instagram as well at Just Visiting WJE with Jonathan and Eric. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitch as well, and we'll hopefully be doing some more different things in the future and getting some of these. This was our first taste at the whole segment kind of thing, so we'll start to get those down a little bit more, and hopefully they'll be even better next time around. So we will talk to you guys next week. Jonathan, you got anything else to say to the people?
Also look out for the clip sections. We're getting better at doing the clips. So we did a couple last one, so we're gonna do some more for this one. And again, those are shareable. And you can also like those, comment, subscribe. All that stuff really helps the channel grow. It gets it to more people, and it helps us to be able to make more content. So definitely do all that stuff, that good stuff.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, and those little ones, I think they're a little bit easier to listen to as well. I was listening to some of them, and they're just way easier to listen to if you guys want to pull up a segment or share it with your friends or something along those lines. So feel free to do it. But anyways, Just Visiting episode 3, we are out. Before I go, I'm also going to try to upload these to like podcast platforms as well. So if you guys do want to listen, like on Apple or Stitcher, or I don't know anybody who goes to Stitcher, or Android or anything like that, we'll try to have them on Google Play and stuff too. So anyways, we will talk to you later. You guys have a great week, and thanks for listening.